Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Awakening failed. It doesn't matter, I am a cultivator. Chapter 26. Today he practiced and practiced in the dungeon. Although he was still a long way from the basic accomplishment of leather refining, he was still unable to reach the point where the leather was as good as cow leather and the knife would leave marks. However, it can control the closing of pores on the body surface to a certain extent and achieve a state of concentrating and holding the breath. At first, he didn't quite understand the use of this state, but because of the stench on Zhongsan and Li Si, he subconsciously entered a breath-holding state. Later, he also heard about Zhongsan measuring his combat power. He also heard that after measuring his combat power value, Zhongsan, Li and the others could not accept that their combat power could not even reach a fraction of his own. They didn't want to accept the reality and use the reason that the health value display is full of question marks to mean that the combat power tester is broken and make excuses for yourself. It was this matter that caught Su Chen's attention, so he borrowed a combat power measuring instrument and took a closer look. Sure enough, the blood value is a question mark. Looking at the column of his health value on the combat power tester. Single quote. Su Chen narrowed his eyes. This practice function that comes with practicing the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor skin refining is an unexpected surprise. Su Chen doesn't want people to see his combat power casually. After all, his combat power improves so fast. It would be bad if he scares others. Originally, he was considering whether to buy a prop to shield himself from prying eyes during late stage, but now it seems that he can save this money. But I'm not very good at practicing now. Although the blood value display is full of question marks. However, the combined combat power value can still be roughly estimated. It seems that the progress of skin training is still a bit behind. Perhaps after the basic accomplishment of skin training, it should be able to be completely blocked. Of course, the combat power meter in Su Chen's hand is only the low-level version issued by the school. The other party needs to have a higher configuration combat power tester. Even if he reaches basic accomplishment or even great accomplishment, it may be spied out, but now, these have not yet been considered by Su Chen. So, strive for acquired to reach basic accomplishment, and be able to block the measurement of the low-level combat power measuring instrument issued by the school. As for today, let's end it first. Quote, he glanced at the setting sun. Su Chen threw the combat power measuring device. Give it back. In front of Su Chen, there was a wild boar that had been beaten to death, and a jarhead classmate who was slumped on the ground. The combat power tester in his hand was borrowed from this jarhead classmate. Just think of this wild boar as a loan gift from me to repay you. Devouring replenishes, practicing consumes, devouring replenishes, practicing consumes. After a day of such high-intensity training, his body is exhausted and is on the verge of collapse. There is no need to continue practicing in the devouring boar. The Wild Boar King is currently in the process of evolving into a rank 2 monster in Tianyuan, and there is no need to devour it for the time being. When it comes out, it will be a rank 2 monster with a combat power of over 1000. So Su Chen generously gave away the wild boar. However, the student jarhead who was slumped on the ground seemed to have been frightened by something. He stared at Su Chen with a pale face, motionless, his eyes full of shock and confusion, and he kept mumbling something like, 357,357,357. He threw the combat power meter back to him and dropped it on the ground. There was no response to Su Chen's words. Oh. Su Chen only reacted after taking a look at Jarhead's powerful combat power of 37. One drawback of the combat power measuring instrument issued by the school is that it is difficult for him to see his own combat power, so before looking at it, he asked Jarhead to measure it for him. Since then, Jarhead has been in this lost state. ... Return to zero. Return to zero. Baiyun No. 1 Middle School. On the square outside the Secret Realm dungeon, a group of students gathered in front of the Wild Boar Forest dungeon, looking at the zero number of wild boars on the dungeon and exclaiming. Newbie. Yesterday there were 1000 wild boars inside, but today since my brother Wang drove his mecha in, all the wild boars were killed in just one day. With such strength and efficiency, let's ask our Baiyun number 1 Middle School, who can compete with us? 1000 wild boars, this is 1000 wild boars including the Wild Boar King boss. Even if Wang Hao didn't kill 1000 but only 800 after entering, the experience he can gain is definitely massive. I don't know how many levels he will upgrade after he comes out. Maybe now the health value has exceeded 10.0, and the trash that crushed Su Chen has reached level 10. I've only reached level 3 after a day of grinding, and Brother Wong is already level 10. Brother Wong is awesome. After Brother Wong comes out, I must interview him carefully about how he upgraded. Why is he so powerful? You are so awesome. I'm so envious of those two losers Zhang San and Li Si. They can gain experience with Brother Wong. They may have reached level 5 or 6 now. I also want to experience the feeling of being led by Brother Wong. There was a lot of noise in the square, and the crowd cheered excitedly. Wearing a green cloak and holding a small shield, Sun Cheng led the team out of the Pheasant Slope copy on the side. After hearing about Wang Hao's horrific record, my heart was also shocked. He led his team to stay in the Pheasant Slope dungeon for a day today and only killed 500 chickens. However, under the same circumstances, Wang Hao killed more than 800 wild boars. Is this how powerful the Mecha Master is? Sun Cheng gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. But I will never admit defeat. Wang Hao, don't even think about defeating me. He turned around and glanced at the number 9000 displayed on the copy of Pheasant Slope behind him. He secretly swore in his heart that tomorrow he would brush the 9000 number on Yejipo's secret realm to 0. If he couldn't do it, he would chop it off live. Wow! Suddenly, the vortex of the Wild Boar Forest secret realm copy fluctuated violently, instantly attracting the attention of the crowd. Out! It's coming out! With such violent fluctuations, Brother Wong must be coming out. The secret realm copy has the function of counting the number of monsters killed by each classmate who enters the game. However, the counting process takes some time and there is a delay. Usually, the number of monsters killed by the corresponding classmate will not be displayed on the big screen until a minute or two after the classmate comes out. Therefore, in order to know for the first time who has killed more monsters and who has killed fewer monsters, many people will judge based on the fluctuation of the vortex entrance when each student releases a copy. The greater the fluctuation at the entrance, the more monsters the people who are about to come out will kill inside. The entrance to the secret realm of the Wild Boar Forest instance in front of us changed from being as calm as a lake to becoming choppy, twisting and shaking violently. Such a huge movement has never happened before. So it must be my brother Wang who came out. He has killed at least 800 wild boars. It is only natural that the copy of the Wild Boar Forest was so frightened by the murderous aura in my brother Wang that it trembled like this. Wang Hao's younger brother, Brother Bucktooth, was still bragging in the square. But the figure who walked out made the students around him stunned, and their bragging words stopped abruptly. Su Chen, tread. Su Chen stepped out of the dungeon whirlpool. He looked at the crowd of people watching on the left and right, and then looked at the copy of Wild Boar Forest beside him. After his name, the number of monsters killed showed that it had entered the statistics. Didn't stop and wait. Knowing the number of monsters he killed meant nothing to him. It's better to go home quickly and let Xiaoming give him a back, relax his sore body, go to bed early, and prepare for tomorrow. After all, although pheasants are not as strong as wild boars, 9000 pheasants are enough to keep him busy for a whole day. It can take him one step closer to leather forging basic accomplishment. Therefore, it's such a high-intensity practice, so I can't do it without a good rest tonight. Su Chen left without any delay. After Su Chen left, the silent square began to ring again, with many people looking at Su Chen's back and whispering. Why is Su Chen going in? He doesn't have an awakening profession, not even the most rubbish life-related profession. He can't level up by killing monsters at all. What's the point of entering? I'm really speechless. There was such a big reaction at the entrance to the dungeon just now. I thought it was my brother Wang who came out. Wow! At this moment, the whirlpool of the Wild Boar Forest copy fluctuated again. Ups and downs, although it was far less violent than when Su Chen came out. But this time it must be my brother Wang. I have already seen my tall and powerful mecha. Bang bang, the buck-toothed brother shouted out. Under the gaze of the crowd, the broken mecha was lifted out of the dungeon vortex by Wang Hao and others. The head, arms and legs, the cockpit. Not to mention being disconnected, there was still smoke and the electric sparkle was squeaking. After carrying it for a day, Wang Hao and others finally lifted the mecha out of the copy. They were so tired that they were sweating profusely. As soon as the mecha was dropped on the ground, they immediately sat down on the ground with their tongues hanging out like a pug. It finally came out. Such a dusty and embarrassed look. Make everyone look weird. The buck-toothed younger brother who liked to brag about Wang Hao was made red-faced and speechless. He wanted to grab Wang Hao's collar and ask a question. Brother Wang, what's going on with you? My little brother is trying to save you face like this, why don't you use it? You carried this rag out. But when the words came to his mouth, the buck-toothed brother's words still turned into, Brother Wang, what's going on with you? Wang Hao was also shocked by so many people watching around him. He didn't expect that he would attract so many people's attention just by coming out. Have you completely trampled the waste Su Chen under your feet and become the apex level figure in No. 1 middle school? Scratching his head in embarrassment, Wang Hao told everyone why his mecha was so rotten. Ho ho ho, Brother Wang is awesome. You can actually fight the mutant wild boar king boss with a combat power of 697. Both sides were injured. Who else can do it at this stage with such strength? Who else? Wang Hao's explanation made the buck-toothed brother and the surrounding students all excited. It's unimaginable. When their average combat power was only 20 or 30, their brother Wang was actually able to fight back and forth by turning on the mecha and the mutated wild boar king with a combat power of over 600. Can Su Chen do this kind of thing? No, Brother Wang should be humble. The mutant wild boar king should have been killed by Brother Wang, otherwise how could the number of wild monsters in the wild boar forest become 0? Yeah, Brother Wang is so awesome. Not only did he kill more than 800 wild boars, but he also pushed the boss of the wild boar forest dungeon, awesome. Brother Wang, what level are you at now? Can you bring your little brother to brush the dungeon later? Wang Hao. The excited comments from the people around him made Wang Hao stunned for a moment. What's the situation? Why did I kill more than 800 wild boars and also overthrow the wild boar king? When did I become so powerful? Why didn't I know? Oops. Brother Wang, please stop being modest. Look back and see that all the wild boars in the wild boar forest instance have been killed. Who else could it be if it weren't you? It can't be Su Chen. What? Killed them all? Wang Hao looked back in shock. On the copy of Wild Boar Forest, a big word 0 marks the number of remaining wild boars in it. Impossible. I just killed 2 or 3 wild boars, and I haven't even upgraded yet. How come there are no monsters in the dungeon? Wang Hao couldn't accept it and screamed. The Wild Boar Forest was ranked among the 10 dungeons prepared for them by the school. In the experience copy, 1 wild boar is worth at least 10 chickens, but now that all the wild boars have been killed, how can he level up? He was still thinking about changing into a mecha tomorrow and going in to fight the wild boar king again for revenge. Why was it gone? Brother Wang, please stop being so low-key. Apart from you, who else in the entire dungeon has the ability to kill all the monsters? Don't mention Su Chen, that loser who hasn't even awakened his profession. Su Chen only has 99 points. Combat power is nothing compared to your invincible mecha, there is no way it can beat the mutated boar king. As Wang Hao's little fan, Bucktooth brother only felt that Wang Hao was being modest. He looked confident, more confident than Wang Hao, and pointed to the column on the screen next to Wang Hao's number of monsters killed and his results. Look, Brother Wang's brilliant achievements are about to be tallied up. Everyone, please hurry up and worship. The results of Wang Hao's Wild Boar Forest copy are settled. Closing square bracket. In and out time, 10 hours. Closing square bracket. Number of monsters killed, 3 ordinary wild boars. Closing square bracket. Reap. Basically nothing. Closing square bracket. Comprehensive evaluation. Z-level trash, a wild boar can drive a mecha better than you. Closing square bracket. Buck-toothed brother. The atmosphere was somewhat silent and awkward. The buck-toothed brother was completely stunned by the evaluation of the clearance. His face turned red and embarrassed, which was even more exciting than Wang Hao's expression. But in the end, he was not the one who was rated as a Z-level waste. So the buck-toothed brother was still able to speak. He touched the back of his head. Shanshan smiled unnaturally and said in a low tone. Oops, that's weird. How could this happen? Could it be that there was an error in the customs clearance settlement? Is there anyone else in my brother Wang's copy who has the ability to kill all the wild boar monsters? Could it be? It's Su Chen. Jarhead's classmate who was scared to death in the wild boar forest came out at some point. He stood in the crowd in the square, pointing with trembling hands to a certain position on the clearance and settlement screen. It's Su Chen. It was Su Chen who killed all 1,000 wild boars in the wild boar forest. People looked in the direction of the potlid's finger. I saw Su Chen's name appearing at the highest point in the wild boar forest dungeon record. Big golden characters came out. Attractive. Especially the word 951 in the column for calculating the number of monsters killed was extremely dazzling, making all the students present, including Wang Hao and Zhao Xiaoya, completely stunned and speechless. After a long time, the buck-toothed brother asked weakly. He has killed all the monsters, how can we upgrade? ... Hateful. This Su Chen is such an idiot. Why didn't I realize he was so bad before? My awakening failed and I couldn't upgrade to become stronger, so I deliberately fought against us to prevent us from upgrading. I have a sinister heart and started to take revenge on society, right? 3 days later, dusk time. Kung Fu Rabbit's secret realm. In an imaginative grove, the squad leader of Su Chen's class, Sun Chang, wearing a green cloak and shield, was exploring the dungeon with his glasses brother and several other boys. While exploring, he was still cursing. It's okay to kill the wild boar forest on the first day. The next day, he dared to compete with my squad leader for chickens. He killed 8,000 of the 9,000 chickens by himself. What a beast. Even if he had worked in a slaughterhouse since he was a child, he couldn't kill them so fast. As a result, I didn't reach level 1 yesterday. I seriously suspect that he deliberately made things difficult for me because he heard that I wanted to chop off my speech live broadcast. I, Sun Chang, did not get what he wanted. I won't chop it. Quote. There are so few rabbits in this copy of Kung Fu Rabbit. Isn't it possible that they were all killed by this beast like Su Chen? If this continues, he might actually succeed in his plan. Hush. When Sun Chang was cursing and expressing his resentment, the glasses guy on the side suddenly pointed to the Kung Fu Rabbit in the grass in front of him with surprise in his eyes and reminded him. Brother Sun, keep your voice down and stop talking. There's a mutated black Kung Fu Rabbit ahead. Kung Fu Rabbit. It has a white appearance, ruby-like eyes, and a body size similar to that of an ordinary domesticated rabbit. It even looks a little cute. But its tribe is very good at boxing and kicking. The combat power of an adult Kung Fu Rabbit is usually higher than that of a normal human. After awakening the profession, students who have just entered the dungeon with high spirits were beaten by rabbits. This has happened many times in the past few days. Among the 10 new dungeons provided by the school, it is the most difficult one in terms of skills. At this moment, in a dense bush, there stood a Kung Fu Rabbit. This Kung Fu Rabbit is different from other rabbits. Its body hair is as smooth as black satin, as deep and beautiful as the night sky. Its pair of red eyes are smart and flickering. Its ears are pointed and stand on top of its head quickly, observing left and right. It seems that after observing for a while, it did not find anything unusual. This black little rabbit with a unique appearance that is enough to detonate the hearts of girls lowered its head and ate something in the bush. Ordinary Kung Fu rabbits are white, but this one is black. It should be a mutant. It's not easy. After entering the dungeon for most of the day, we finally encountered a rabbit. Go, kill him. If I don't upgrade, I'm going to die. Behind a small mound about 30 meters away, Sun Chang and others wearing green cloaks were secretly watching. Brother Sun, wait a minute, I always feel that this black rabbit is a little strange, it feels like the chicken brother we met yesterday. The glasses brother pushed his glasses. He recalled a mutant chicken brother he met in the Pheasant Hill dungeon yesterday. That chicken brother was also black and red-eyed. At that time, there was the shield hero Sun Chang leading the way, so they didn't think much and rushed to kill him. In the end, they didn't kill the little black chicken brother. They were also poked by the chicken brother to explode their combat power meters, suffered heavy losses, and were chased out of the dungeon by the chicken brother. It was extremely embarrassing, and even their butts were pecked a few times. So at this time, they saw another Kung Fu Rabbit of the same color. The dull pain on his butt made the glasses brother want to remind everyone to be careful. But there's no need for that. It's just a rabbit, not even as big as my foot. Brothers, go and kill him. Sun Chang waved his hand and jumped out from behind the small mound with several younger brothers. Hee hee, little rabbit, be good. My sword has been thirsty for a long time. Su Chen wants to curb our growth and prevent us from upgrading by stealing monsters, so that he can continue to maintain his title of the first in the school in the first mock exam a week later. It's ridiculous. Today, my brother Sun will tell him that your glory has long passed, and the new era has no ship to carry you. Don't struggle to death, you waste abandoned by the times. No matter how shameless you are to steal monsters from us and hinder our upgrading, you can only watch us getting stronger and stronger until one day you are stepped on by us. This is the general trend. Brothers, come on, let's use this Kung Fu rabbit to sacrifice the sword to start our road to King Evolution. Su Chen is so anxious. Ah, Sun Chang's chicken blood speech made several younger brothers scream excitedly. Ah, thieves, I can't do anything about you. The glasses brother stood up from behind the hill, pushed his glasses with his middle finger, shook his head helplessly and laughed. Even I'm excited by what you said. A helpless smile appeared on his lips, but a green bow and arrow appeared in his hand. B-level professional forest archer. Behind the glasses, I'll leave it to you. Shower, Wang Wu, you two, surround it from both sides, don't let this rabbit run away. Mazi, follow me. Sun Chang led 3 young men from the warrior profession and quickly charged towards the Kung Fu rabbit in front. During this period, he gave orders from left to right and arranged the troops in formation. It really looked like that. The Kung Fu rabbit, who was grazing in the grass, also heard the movement here. He raised his head, raised his ears, and looked over with a pair of ruby-like scarlet eyes. Brother Sun, shall I come with you? The pock-marked face who followed Sun Chang was staring numbly at the Kung Fu rabbit's scarlet eyes. He was inevitably a little hesitant after hearing the order. There were several holes in his jeans buttocks exposed. The white and red butt meat reminded him of the outcome of yesterday's battle with little Heitzi chicken brother. The pain that still lingers on his butt makes pock-marked face subconsciously feel afraid of the black monster. Do not be afraid. The best way to defeat fear is to face it. Sun Chang patted Mazi's back while running and encouraged him excitedly like a successful mentor. Yesterday's black chicken brother was just an accident. Today, this Kung Fu rabbit, which is not as big as my feet, can beat us up. Don't worry, don't forget that you, brother Sun, am an A-level shield hero. My defense cannot be broken without the strength of rank 2. Brother Sun. Mazi was so excited by what Lao Wang said that he shouted with admiration. He turned to look at Sun Chang. But all he saw was a black shadow passing by. Then there was a deafening collision sound in his ears. The shield in Sun Chang's hand. After being kicked by Kung Fu rabbit, it exploded into pieces. Sun Chang's whole body flew backwards instantly under this powerful force and passed out. Mazi. The fragments of the shield were scattered. Reflected in Mazi's eyes that were gradually losing focus. The broken shield was just like the broken blood in his heart. The black Kung Fu rabbit, which had shattered the dreams of teenagers and their path to becoming kings, became a nightmare that would never go away in Mazi's heart. Boom! Kung Fu rabbit turned around in the air and kicked the pockmarked face away. What kind of friendship, bonding and passion are there for a bunch of miscellaneous fish? I still want to surpass the Demon Lord. Let's all live in a dream. After cleaning up Sun Chang, Mazi, glasses and others, Kung Fu rabbit spat disdainfully on the ground. Basic accomplishment of leather refining. The leather is like cow leather, tough and difficult to break. The knife marks will not bleed. The external defense function of the human body is greatly improved. You no longer have to worry about being casually scratched with a sharp blade. At the same time, after basic accomplishment, you can also self-contain your own aura and hide it, thus achieving the effect of blocking the detection of the low-level combat power measuring instrument to a certain extent, so that no one can detect your 3-dimensional data, and your privacy is preserved. Ancient trees and green onions. Deep in the dark forest. A beam of sunlight slanted through the dense jungle onto the square inch of land. Beyond this beam of sunlight, in the dark dense forest, there lay a large wild boar with thick black hair, a dark body, and white tusks. The wild boar is huge, with its eyes closed, as if it is sleeping, and it is crawling on the ground like a ferocious beast. Its round body exudes a faint coercion that makes people dare not approach it. This wild boar is the wild boar king that has completed the rank 2 evolution. Next to the wild boar king, there is a dark-skinned pheasant that is more than 1 meter tall, with its neck raised proudly, as if it is a phoenix, walking around arrogantly and gracefully, inspecting the surroundings. This pheasant is none other than Su Chen, the chicken brother who was included in the abyss of 10,000 demons in Pheasant Slope yesterday. At this moment, surrounded by Chicken Brother and Wild Boar King, in the area covered by the golden sunshine. Standing there was a handsome young man with a handsome appearance and a strong body. His fair skin was covered with a layer of light gold under the sunlight, making him look like a noble prince standing gracefully. The young man is Su Chen. At this moment, he is checking out his current cultivation results. 3 days have passed. Although I haven't reached the stage of basic accomplishment yet, I'm still only a little short of it. Su Chen lowered his eyes and looked at his palms and shook them. He could feel that when he was practicing the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body just now, the skin on his body had reached a certain level due to the constant flow of energy and blood, a critical value. He only needs to pierce this layer of window paper, and he can immediately step into the stage of basic accomplishment and usher in a qualitative change. It was just that at the critical moment, the energy and blood in his body was exhausted, and he was unable to follow up and failed to break through. In addition, in order to increase the strength of the demon rabbit he had conquered to rank 2, the entire Kung Fu Rabbit secret realm was also looted by him today. It's almost done. It might be a little difficult to find a rabbit to devour in a short period of time to replenish the energy and blood. So, go home and break through. Anyway, it was about the same time as he planned and estimated. Su Chen stepped towards the light. Call out. A black shadow suddenly appeared from the woods and fell on his shoulder. Gigi. Gigi. The Kung Fu Rabbit who beat up Sun Cheng and others stood on Su Chen's shoulders and danced to report something. What? Did anyone approach just now? Oh, it turned out to be a trash fish, and you have already taken care of it. Su Chen was in a hurry to go home and complete the last step of skin refining. He had no time to pay attention to the trash fish, so he waved his hand. That goes without saying. In the future, you don't need to report anything like this to me about trash fish. Cackling, cackling, bang kai, after the Wild Boar King and Chicken Brother behind him responded, they penetrated into the abyss through Su Chen's expanding shadow on the ground and completed today's guarding work. Coming. Out. Su Chen is out. Sunset time. Su Chen walked out of the Kung Fu Rabbit secret realm. As soon as he appeared, he attracted the attention of countless people, and countless classmates cast gnashing teeth and hostile glances at him. As for the reason, Su Chen also knows. During these 3 days of practice, there was gradually a conspiracy theory about him outside. The 5 good young men who used to be called Su Shen, a moral role model. After failing in their professional awakening, they actually started to go dark and retaliate against society. I compete with my classmates to kill monsters. I would rather work hard all day and kill all the monsters without leaving an upgrade experience pack for my classmates. It harms others but does not benefit oneself. Is this a distortion of human nature or a corruption of morality? Let's go into the Baiyun TV live broadcast room and follow me to verify the answer. Dear viewers, hello everyone, I am Xiao Li, the reporter responsible for the interview this time. Wow, the barrage in the live broadcast room scrolled, my wife is here again. Above the crowded secret realm square, fat and thin Tutuo is carrying the camera. Xiao Li is walking backwards, holding the microphone and looking at the live broadcast room in the camera, and briefly introduces the whole story. The barrage of wife and wife in the live broadcast room also began to change. How so? How could the boy who used to run in the rain turn black? Alas, you can't blame him for turning dark. The reality is too cruel. In the past, he was number 1 in the school, good at both civil and military affairs, and enjoyed countless honors. But now his awakening has failed and he doesn't have any talent career. Once I fell from a high building to the bottom, from a genius known to everyone to a trash known to the entire internet, I couldn't bear this huge gap. Quote, I can only say that this era is too cruel. Talent career determines everything. There is a boy named Yi Fan next door who is in the same class as him. Talent in martial arts is also good, with a health value of 6.0, but now I heard that he has dropped out of school. Delivery. Bullshit. The times have forced him to do so. It's excusable. Waste is waste. It's just that he didn't understand his status. All those academic achievements in the past were all false. After being praised by others as a genius for a few years, I really regarded myself as a genius. When it comes to geniuses, my Jong-san is the real genius. Can you compare with B-level professions? That's right, my Lee Si is also a genius in the B-level profession. This guy named Su Chen can only be beaten to death in front of my Lee Si. The barrage in the live broadcast room quickly started to quarrel. Don't be anxious, everyone. Don't jump to conclusions. Let me first interview the victims at the scene and ask them what they think. Xiaoli calmed the emotions of the audience in the live broadcast room. Then she took the microphone and found a tattered classmate wearing a green tattered cloak and holding a few tattered pieces in his hand for some reason outside the crowd. Hello, classmate, I am Xiaoli, a reporter from Baiyun TV station. We have a few questions to ask you about Su Chen. Is it convenient for you now? Convenience is convenience, but I want to ask if you can give me a code. Sure, okay, if you have anything to ask, just tell me. I'm his monitor. With the appearance of a man with a shrill, thin voice and a mosaic face in the live broadcast room, the live interview about Su Chen officially began. This class monitor, may I ask why you think Su Chen did these things? Why, it's not just for the first mock test in a week. Su Chen is immersed in the false glory of being the first in every exam in the past, and he doesn't dare to face the reality of failed awakening, so he relies on the fact that his starting health value is higher and his combat power is slightly stronger than ours. Just maliciously snatching monsters, hoping to curb our growth and evolution so as to achieve his despicable and shameless purpose. Then he did something like this. As a victim, how do you feel? Is it beyond your expectation? Thinking, well, the man with a mosaic-faced face pondered for a moment, then faced the camera and complained in a somewhat indignant voice. Su Chen is a bad guy. You have all been deceived by him in the past. From the moment he stole the heart of my goddess Ruizu, I knew he was not a good person. If you do something like this now, in my opinion, your true nature is exposed. There's nothing surprising at all. If it hadn't been for this brat snatching my copy of Pheasant Slope yesterday, I would only be at level 3 now. Otherwise, I might have been kicked unconscious by a wild rabbit. Shame, this is shame. Su Chen, just wait for me. I tell you, steel is made from steel, and it is indomitable. You can stop me for a while, but you can't stop me for the rest of my life. 7 days later, in the first mock test, I, the shield hero Sun Chang, will definitely kill you to death. Okay, it can be seen that the class monitor is a little excited. Let's switch to the next classmate for the interview. Seeing that the man with a mosaic face was too excited and was spitting all over the place with the intention of grabbing the microphone, Xiaoli quickly changed to another classmate. Interview. This time, the mosaic man was wearing crocodile leather shoes and his oily toe was covered in oil. Parked behind him was a brand new mecha that was also mosaicked. This classmate, I heard that your mecha was broken some time ago. What do you think of what Su Chen is doing now? Impressions. It doesn't matter. I have prepared this new spare mecha in advance. Destroying one will not prevent me from upgrading. If you have the ability, you can destroy this one too. Regarding Su Chen's despicable actions, I just want to say that justice will prevail and all evil will eventually be brought to justice. In the face of absolute strength, all conspiracies and tricks are all false. After a week, just watch me, Lao Wang, torture him severely with a big hard mecha. Quote. The successive interviews made the audience in the live broadcast room feel equally indignant as the two mosaic men. The barrage style became one-sided. Xiaoli also sighed in her heart. She looked at Su Chen, who was surrounded by crowds as soon as he walked out of the dungeon, her beautiful eyes full of complexity. She had interviewed Su Chen about how he felt when he was so proud of his spring breeze and was known as the god of Su. She had also witnessed Su Chen's embarrassing look when he fell from the altar and ran in the rain, and now she saw Su Chen acting like this, harming others and not benefiting himself. It is inevitable that you will have many feelings. However, as a professional reporter, Xiaoli suppressed these emotions and said to the camera, "Don't jump to conclusions. That's not necessarily the truth of the matter. We still need to wait for us to hear the answer from the person involved. Regarding Su Chen, Xiaoli still didn't believe that the ordinary and outstanding young man in the past would become as despicable as he is today. So, student Su Chen, do you have anything to refute everyone's remarks? A microphone was handed to Su Chen's mouth. The classmates all said that you deliberately grabbed monsters and prevented them from upgrading for the first mock test in a week. The purpose was to slow down their upgrade progress before the first mock test, so as to reach the level of this mock test. The ranking of 1, is that it? Rumor. Pure rumors. Su Chen walked among the crowd and took some time to reply to the camera. But why did you kill all the monsters in the dungeon and leave none for the students? This is all for practice. I heard that in order to prevent classmates from licking and picking up leaks, you even bought a super large space prop and put all the corpses in it. Is it true? Sorry, cultivation secrets, no comment. I'm done asking. I'm going back. Su Chen was in a hurry to go home and break through to the realm of basic accomplishment. He didn't have time to be interviewed, so he gave Xiaoli a few simple answers and left in a hurry. However, in the eyes of people, this hurriedly leaving figure was so shocked that they were speechless. Mom, I really misjudged him. Unfortunately, I used to think that although he failed in his career awakening, he has a good character and good character. He may not be able to find a way out by practicing pure martial arts in the future. But now it seems that I was really wrong. With such a character, he will not be able to pursue pure martial arts in the future. Not far away. If I fail to awaken and cannot upgrade, it will prevent other students from upgrading and becoming stronger. I will use such despicable methods. I would like to see where he can get in the simulation test in a week. I will have my glasses fixed by then. You can't teach this kid a lesson. The students around him were making a lot of indignant noises, and the barrage was also full of curses. Xiaoli stopped where she was, her beautiful eyes were slightly red, and she couldn't help shouting at Su Chen's back. Have you fallen, boy? Su Chen didn't answer. The young man did not look back. Xiaoli lowered the microphone in her hand weakly, and looked at Su Chen with disappointment in her eyes. Arrogant, so arrogant. This Su Chen isn't even pretending anymore, is he? My wife Xiaoli was so arrogant when she interviewed him. She really deserves to fail in her awakening. Teacher, where is the teacher? Are we just going to let him grab monsters with us and destroy our upgrades like this? Don't worry, I've already reported it to the teacher. He won't be around for long. The glasses guy who reported the report seemed very proud, pushing down his broken glasses with a few cracks on the bridge of his nose. The genius of the past is now a waste. What is the reason for the young man's depravity? Closing square bracket. Why did he choose to retaliate against society and destroy the evolution and upgrade of his classmates after his awakening failed? Closing square bracket. Is it forced by the times, or is this the nature? Closing square bracket. What will be the result of the mock exam of No. 1 middle school in a week's time, and what will be the ending of the depraved boy? Baiyun TV will continue to report for you. Closing square bracket. Baiyun No. 1 middle school. In the school conference room, the live report about Su Chen was projected on the big screen. On top of the round table in front of the screen, there were more than a dozen head teacher level characters. Gentlemen, you have seen what happened. What do you think we should do next? Should we ban Su Chen from entering the secret realm? The principal sat at the front with his elbows on the table and his hands folded under his chin with a serious expression. Moon on the branches. The bright moon and stars illuminate the sky. The bright moonlight shines through the screen window into the simple bedroom. A drop of sweat that had the color of moonlight fell to the ground in midair. Water splashed everywhere. At this moment, Su Chen was standing in the room in an extremely weird posture. I saw him pointing to the sky and the ground. The two palms are propped up like a golden Buddha standing alone. This is the skin-forging posture of the third form of the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body, and its effect is 10 times that of the first form. Su Chen could only hold on for 10 minutes, but he could already hear the qi and blood inside his body rolling around, hitting the surface of his skin like waves crashing on the shore. Thousands of blows, repeated slaps, and repeated training. A trace of blood mist penetrates through skin pores. Su Chen felt that his body was gradually becoming sore and swollen, and his whole body was like a balloon filled with air, filled with a sense of bloating and astringency. Countless qi and blood were constantly surging outwards from the body, as if to break through the restrictions of the skin on the body and pour out. Just like the outside world, Su Chen's skin showed every inch of cracks under the impact. Until a certain moment, snapped, the continuously inflated balloon finally burst. The skin on Su Chen's body burst apart at this moment. The old skin dies and the new skin is born. A layer of new skin is exposed under the seemingly cracked dead skin. The texture of the skin is delicate, and the whiteness is as pink as a newborn baby. It seems that you can vaguely see the dragon scale pattern looming under the skin texture. Call. Su Chen let out a long breath and took back his posture. He peeled off the dead skin on his hands and looked at the new skin underneath, his eyes showing excitement and joy. The Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body has finally reached basic accomplishment. Basic accomplishment of leather refining. The leather is like cow leather. It is difficult to be damaged by ordinary swords. I wonder if that's the case. In order to test the results of my basic accomplishment, Su Chen took out the utility knife from the drawer. He first used a utility knife to lightly scratch the back of his hand. No feeling. The sharp utility knife that could draw blood easily in the past scratched the back of his hand, but now he felt absolutely nothing when it was scratched on his hand. It was like scratching it with a wooden knife, and even the white marks formed disappeared in an instant. The second time Su Chen tried to increase his intensity. He put the utility knife against his fingertips and slowly applied force. His fingertips sunk slightly under the pressure of the tip of the utility knife, but there was still no sign of blood piercing the surface of his skin. Su Chen watched quietly with his eyes. Hold on, keep pressing down. The blade of the utility knife began to bend under the pressure of his fingers. There was a faint groan of overwhelming pain, but it still did not pierce the skin of his fingertips and there was no blood left. Continue. Su Chen didn't stop, staring closely with his eyes, and continued to exert force. The body where the utility knife was bent began to tremble violently, as if it was about to break. Snapped. Finally, the utility knife was overwhelmed and shattered. A sharp fragment shining with cold light continued to enlarge in Su Chen's eyes. Su Chen looked slightly sideways. Debris flashed from the corner of his eye. But the imagined blood did not spill out, and the blade still failed to scratch the skin at the corner of Su Chen's eyes. Even Su Chen doubted that just now, even if he did not hide and let the fragments scratch his eyeballs, it would probably not cause any harm to him. Ha! Such experimental results made Su Chen couldn't help but laugh. This is nothing like cowhide. If a real dragon removes its scales, its skin will probably be just like this. At this point, he finally no longer has to worry about the embarrassing situation where a peerless martial arts master accidentally stabbed his abdomen with a knife by a child because of his inattention. With his current state of basic accomplishment in the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body, let alone letting a child attack with a knife, even if he lay on the ground and let an adult chop him for 10 days and 10 nights, the other party might not be able to break his defense. After all, although the utility knife is small, its sharpness is not low at all. Many ordinary swords are not as sharp as a utility knife. Now, when he crushes the utility knife with his fingers, it cannot penetrate his skin at all. Su Chen can probably guess the toughness of his own skin. It can be said that from now on, it will be difficult for ordinary swords to harm him. Survivability is greatly improved, and this is just the result of the basic accomplishment of the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor's skin refining basic accomplishment. I really wonder what will happen after the great accomplishment of the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body. Great accomplishment of skin refining, skin like gold and jade. Just the word, gold and jade, sounds like it is several grades higher than cow leather. I really don't know, when I reach the level of great accomplishment, will there be electromagnetic sparks when the sword strikes me? Maybe I can really dismantle a Gundam with my bare hands by then. Thinking of the new spare mecha that Lao Wang had just taken out today, Su Chen's eyes couldn't help but reveal an eagerness to try. He didn't take much rest, so he set up his posture and continued to practice the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body. Strive to reach the level of great accomplishment in 1 week before taking the first mock exam. ... Ding dong. Xiaoming, look here to see if it's your brother. In the spacious and bright bathroom, hot water fills the entire space with steam. The innocent and lovely Lin Xiaoming is soaking in the bathtub, playing with her mobile phone. Water droplets are rolling down her snow-white skin, which is full of pink and looks extremely fresh and delicate. The entire bathroom is filled with a light aroma, which makes people feel happy. Her big watery eyes are as bright as stars, her long eyelashes tremble slightly, and the innocent smile on her face makes people want to love her. Just like the previous 2 days, Lin Xiaoming, who was playing with her mobile phone, received another message from her best friend Xiao Yu. What's wrong? What happened to Su Chen again? Lin Xiaoming felt a little strange and opened the video link sent by Xiao Yu. I saw a few words written in big letters on the video title. Young man, have you fallen? Closing square bracket. The content inside is: the genius of the past is now a waste. What is the reason for the young man's depravity? Closing square bracket. Why did he choose to retaliate against society and destroy the evolution and upgrade of his classmates after his awakening failed? Closing square bracket. Is it forced by the times, or is this the nature? Closing square bracket. What will be the result of the mock exam of No. 1 middle school in a week's time, and what fate will the depraved boy have in the end? Lin Xiaoming covered her mouth while watching Su Chen's live interview. Her eyes trembled and her big, watery eyes were a little red. How so? Su Chen, how could his brother do such a thing that harms others and does not benefit himself? Is he really depraved? Hiss. The scarlet snake letter spat out, and a small black snake half a meter long and as thick as a thumb was lying on the edge of the window. A pair of dark white sharp fangs were exposed in the air, and the cold snake eyes were staring at the girl below like a hunter. Lin Xiaoming seemed to be immersed in the video of Su Chen's interview and was unaware of it. Well, although I also want to believe that brother Su Chen would not do such a thing, the reality is this. Brother Su Chen was so good in the past, but he suffered such a big blow during the awakening ceremony. He couldn't bear it for a while. His body and mind were polluted by filth, and it is not incomprehensible that he did some self-degrading things. Otherwise, Xiaoming, go and help your brother purify it. My best friend Xiao Yu opposite sent me words of comfort. But, Lin Xiaoming bit her white thumb, with a somewhat tangled expression of distress on her pink and rosy face. I haven't awakened yet. If I'm not a priest of light, how can I purify Su Chen of the degenerate filth accumulated in his body? How do I know? I haven't awakened yet. Why don't you go Qiandu? Okay. After some discussion, Lin Xiaoming opened the Qiandu Tieba forum with the Kengjichong tag and started to post questions. I have a brother who has fallen. How can I help him purify his body and mind? Soon, there was a reply from a master in the field of orthopedics in the forum. I don't know what he said. He looked at Lin Xiaoming's face flushed and her ears flushed. And just when Lin Xiaoming was fascinated. Hiss. Beside the window, a black snake swam, staring at Lin Xiaoming with a pair of cold-blooded vertical eyes. Girl, do you long for power? A bewildering and unexpected voice sounded in the bathroom. Lin Xiaoming, who was studying with the master of Tieba, raised his head in surprise and looked around as if the teacher had caught him looking at something he shouldn't. Finally, I noticed the little black snake coiled around the edge of the window, spitting out a snake message. Hiss. Girl, do you desire power? Are you eager to gain the power that can help your brother purify the filth in his soul? The black snake seemed to be talking, a bewitching voice ringing in his ears. But, Lin Xiaoming's scream sounded in the bathroom. Aha! Su Chen, who was cultivating the golden jade dragon emperor body in the bedroom, suddenly opened his eyes. Little dream. After hearing Lin Xiaoming's cry, he didn't hesitate at all. Bang! A sound. The bathroom door was violently pushed open by Su Chen. What's wrong with Xiaoming? With a snowy complexion, he hid behind Su Chen without caring about the happy couple. Snake. There's a snake. Su Chen raised his head and saw a small black snake with fangs flying toward his face. Why are there snakes? Su Chen frowned slightly, and without any need for words, he grabbed the black snake in midair with one hand. The black snake struggled violently and hissed a threatening sound from its mouth. It's okay, Xiaoming. I've caught the snake, don't be afraid. Su Chen ignored it and turned around to reassure Lin Xiaoming. Lin Xiaoming, who was grabbing the corner of Su Chen's clothes, pointed her finger forward in panic. Brother, be careful. The black snake caught in Su Chen's hand revealed its sharp fangs and bit the back of Su Chen's hand. Su Chen lowered his eyes and did not dodge. Hiss. The black snake's sharp fangs bit his hand viciously. The sharp snake teeth touched the skin, and two small pits appeared underneath. But, I chew, I chew, I chew. After chewing for a long time, the ferocity in the eyes of the little black snake was no longer there. When it raised its head, its cold vertical eyes showed a bit of confusion and sluggishness. He looked at the white skin on the back of Su Chen's hand that had been bitten by him for a long time but had no mark at all. Big eyes full of question marks. It seems that the scene in front of it is beyond its cognitive scope. When can human skin be able to block its sharp fangs? Lin Xiaoming also blinked her eyes because of the appearance of this scene, feeling a little incredible. Su Chen, you. When she was about to say something, she seemed to suddenly discover something and exclaimed. Ah, blood, bleeding. Su Chen, you're bleeding. Bleeding. Su Chen's eyes swept over his hand. He made basic accomplishment of skin, and had a golden jade dragon emperor body. Even swords could not break through the defense. How could he be bitten by a small snake and bleed? Tick-tock. A drop of bright red blood fell on the floor. Su Chen touched his nose. Oh, it's okay, it's just a nosebleed. ... Hey, Law Enforcement Bureau. I just found a snake in my house. Yes, it's black. Okay, I'll wait for you to come over. In the living room, Su Chen hung up the phone. He looked at the black snake in his hand that was still biting his hand and trying to pierce his skin with its fangs. He narrowed his eyes slightly, and the deep eyes revealed the brilliance of thinking. Why are there snakes in the house? His home is located on the 9th floor. Xingchen apartment is also a slightly mid to high-end apartment. The residence may not be luxurious, but it is at least clean and tidy. He has lived here for more than 10 years and has never seen any snakes or rats entering his home. But something like this happened today. Thinking of the black snake I encountered in the alley where I left Lao Yang's noodle shop earlier. And earlier, he had seen this little black snake in schools, shopping malls, vegetable markets, roadsides, gardens, and other places. It seems that it was just these 2 years. This kind of little black snakes suddenly appeared everywhere in Baiyun City. Today, he showed up directly at his home. This gave Su Chen a lot of unwarranted associations, so he just called the Law Enforcement Bureau to notify them. The attitude of the Law Enforcement Bureau is also intriguing. Upon hearing that what he encountered was a snake, I quickly asked him if he was black. After confirming that it was a black snake, the person on the other side became obviously serious and asked him to wait for a moment before sending someone to deal with it immediately. Is there something big involved behind this? Su Chen's black eyes flashed. Heaven swallowing demon technique. He swallowed the little black snake coiled around his arm and biting him into the abyss. Wait for the swallowing vortex to dissipate. The little black snake had changed its appearance after it came out again. Although it was still completely black and its pair of snake eyes had turned scarlet, it looked even more terrifying. However, after it came out, it rubbed Su Chen's face very affectionately. He sat on the sofa obediently. This world is not stable, or it is very dangerous. Externally, there are endless ferocious beasts and foreign races that are eyeing them. Internally, there are criminal groups that hunt professional talents, as well as some cultists who believe in evil gods. Playing with the little black snake on the sofa. Su Chen now had some doubts about whether these black snakes were brought in by a cult organization that believed in the snake god. You just don't know what their purpose is. There is currently too little information. Su Chen had no way of knowing, so he could only temporarily take the little black snake back into the demonic abyss and wait for the arrival of the Law Enforcement Bureau to see if he could get any further information. Yes, she was taking a shower at the time. I rushed in when I heard the sound, and then I saw the black snake. Where's the snake? Be eaten by me. Were you eaten? 2 people came from the Law Enforcement Bureau. The leader was a beautiful law enforcement officer wearing a tight-fitting leather jacket, with a curvy figure, a pair of slender legs that looked tight and powerful as if they had been practicing martial arts all year round, and a hint of heroism in her exquisite facial features. They seemed to be asking questions on a routine basis. One of them asked while the other took notes. They acted competently and sharply throughout the process and had no intention of revealing any other information to Su Chen. But after hearing that the little black snake was eaten by Su Chen, the beautiful law enforcement officer looked a little surprised. It seemed like he didn't expect Su Chen to answer like this. Just when she was about to ask something more, she suddenly saw Lin Xiaoming standing behind Su Chen in pajamas. She had an innocent appearance, a childlike face, but a devilish figure. The beautiful law enforcement officer seemed to react belatedly. Etc. You just said she was taking a shower, and you rushed in. What's your relationship? She's my sister. Yeah, I did it, Su Chen added as if to prevent others from misunderstanding. However, this addition made the beautiful law enforcement officer look at him strangely. Her professionalism prevented her from asking any more questions. She had seen it no matter how chaotic it was, so after the routine questioning, the two law enforcement officers left in a hurry. Captain, these evil cultists have become more and more arrogant recently. In the past, they used to operate in sewers, but now they appear openly in residential buildings. Outside the door, after closing the door of Su Chen's house, the law enforcement officer who was wearing a hat and was in charge of taking notes couldn't help but grit his teeth and groaned. Perhaps they have their sights set on the city. There is some conspiracy brewing secretly. The beautiful law enforcement officer wearing a leather jacket also lowered her beautiful eyes slightly and had a serious expression. Go ahead and ask all departments to pay more attention. Find out all the evil cultists lurking in Baiyun City as quickly as possible and ask them what their purpose is. Just when the two were about to leave, the beautiful law enforcement officer's leather jacket suddenly rang with the sound of a phone call. Hey, Hatsune, have you come to Baiyun City now? There was a slightly familiar middle-aged man's voice on the other side of the phone. Yes, Uncle Zhao, I just transferred to Baiyun City today, what can I do for you? That's right, Hatsune, do you remember the young man named Su Chen I told you about before? His martial Dao talent is very good. He is a good young talent for practicing martial arts. He should not be buried just because he has not awakened his professional talent. I will send you his information later and you can see if you can introduce him to the old man and give him a way out. It turns out that the man on the other side of the phone is Su Chen's teacher Martial Dao and Zhao Xiaoya's father Zhao Yu. Both are members of the Guwu Zhao family, and he and Zhao Qian have an uncle-nephew relationship. Okay, Uncle Zhao, I'll be serious, wait. Zhao Qian suddenly seemed to realize something, and she turned to look at the closed door next to her. Uncle Zhao, does the Su Chen you are talking about live in Xingshan apartment, and there is a sister at home, did it? Yes, Hatsune, what, have you seen him? Zhao Yu's voice from the other side seemed a little surprised. Yeah, I just met. Uncle Zhao, you don't need to send any more information about him. I already understand that the energy and blood in his body is indeed far beyond that of his peers. His strength should have entered the martial artist level. He can achieve this level at this age without the resources of the family. His strength is indeed quite talented, and he can be regarded as a martial arts genius who only appears once every 10 years. But that's about it. It's just a once-in-a-decade experience, not a once-in-a-100-year period. This kind of talent will never catch my eye. It's a rare occurrence in 100 years. Zhao Yu's voice on the other side was a little stunned. Has Su Chen offended you in some way, Hatsune? Or is there some grudge between you two? No, I'm just telling the truth. Zhao Qian's voice was calm and nothing unusual could be heard. In fact, she had an upright personality and what she hated most in her life was a pervert like Su Chen who had a godmother at home. So Uncle Zhao, please don't mention this matter again. Unless he is a martial arts wizard who is rare in a century, I will not trouble Grandpa. But a once-in-a-century martial arts prodigy, even if Su Chen can take first place in the first mock test with pure force over all levels of professional awakeners, he still can't be called a once-in-a-100-year master. Yes, Zhao Qian nodded coldly. In the near future, she would be invited to observe the mock exam of Baiyun No. 1 middle school as the inspector. On the opposite side, Zhao Yu, who heard that Zhao Qian looked down on Su Chen and had no intention of recommending talent, laughed bitterly, his voice a little helpless. If you want to be awarded the title of once-in-a-100-year, perhaps the only owner of martial Dao is Ju Tian. Hatsune, you are too pushy. Su Chen was unaware of the conversation between Zhao Yu and Zhao Qian. At this time, in the room, Su Chen sat on the sofa and frowned slightly, analyzing the incident involving Little Black Snake. It seems that there is indeed a lot involved behind the scenes. It's just that there won't be a large-scale outbreak in a short period of time. From the two people's avoidance of disclosure, he could probably guess this through this incident, but if he wanted to find out more deeply, there was no way. This feeling made Su Chen feel a sense of urgency. Cultists are not normal people. In order to gain the power of the evil god, massacres of cities and sacrifices had happened in the past, but he didn't want to be unable to resist when things broke out. Looks like I need to step up my practice. He strives to complete the 9 stages of perfect body tempering as soon as possible and obtain the true method of immortal transformation, immortal ascension. As long as he can incarnate as Red Dust Immortal, he will not be afraid of even the evil god cholera. However, the body refining foundation building is complete, and the immortal transformation, immortal ascension is still a little far away from him now. The first goal at the moment should be to cultivate the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor's body to the great accomplishment, and repair the skin like Golden Jade, and then find a way to solve Xiaoming's safety problem. Su Chen glanced behind him at Lin Xiaoming, who was lying on the sofa again, playing with his mobile phone and laughing. Because he was here today, Lin Xiaoming was not bitten by a snake, but he couldn't be by Lin Xiaoming's side all the time, so it was indeed necessary to arrange a bodyguard for Lin Xiaoming in case of emergencies. After all, he was here, there is only one relative in the world. It's just that all the demons are in his hands at this moment. The wild boar king body is too big, and the chicken brother is obviously weird at over 1 meter tall. The kung fu rabbit is more suitable for disguise. It looks cute, just like an ordinary little rabbit, but it is a magic rabbit after all, and it is too close. If you get close, others will inevitably notice the clues. Not to mention the little black snake. Su Chen was afraid that as soon as he was released, he would be chopped off as the little black snake of the evil god sect. So he needed a wild monster that could keep a little distance, preferably one that could fly, and transform it into a demon in the abyss to protect Lin Xiaoming. And this kind of wild monster. Su Chen also has a goal. That is the owl copy among the 10 copies prepared by No. 1 Middle School. It's just right that I can continue to cultivate the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor's body while filling in the demons in the abyss to strengthen my own power and prepare for the future. ... Hee hee, look, he's here again. The next day, above the school's secret realm square. Su Chen's arrival caused whispers among the students in the square who were choosing secret realm to enter. However, compared to yesterday's indignation, this time Wang Hao, Sun Cheng and others obviously had a bit of gloating in their voices. It turned out to be yesterday. After the glasses guy made a small report, the principal of No. 1 Middle School convened a meeting with all the head teachers of all the 3rd grade students. The content of the meeting was a decision on whether to allow Su Chen to continue entering the school's secret realm. During this meeting, I heard that Wang Mang, the head teacher of Class 1, took the lead in opposing Su Chen's entry into secret realm, saying that Su Chen was completely wasting secret realm resources and destroying the evolution and upgrading of his classmates. This resolution was approved by most class teachers. However, Chen Guangzong, the head teacher of Su Chen's 2nd class, voted against and insisted on safeguarding Su Chen's personal interests. The two sides got into a heated argument at the meeting. So both parties took a step back, and Wang Mang, the head teacher of Class 1, agreed to let Su Chen continue to enter the secret realm. But the condition is that he has to make a bet with Chen Guangzong, the old classmate of Su Chen's class. The bet is whether Su Chen can maintain the first place in the first mock exam a week later, whether he can enter the top 3 in the school. The bet is, whoever loses will raise his butt. You must know that when Wang Mang and Chen Guangzong, the head teachers of the two classes, were betting on whose class had higher career awakening scores, Chen Guangzong had already lost once. This time everyone with a discerning eye knows that Su Chen, who does not even have a profession, even if his starting point is a bit higher and his health value is as high as 9 points, how can he compare with the growth and evolution of a professional? According to the rules of the first mock exam in previous years, the health value of the top 100 students in their number 1 middle school will basically reach around 10.0. After 7 days, Su Chen's strength may not even rank in the top 100, let alone the top 3. Chen Guangzong dared to agree to this bet, which was simply giving away his ass. Therefore, the agreement signed by the two parties yesterday is also called the butt-sending agreement. This is an opportunity your class teacher bought for you, so you have to cherish it, ha ha ha. Su Chen, don't be a coward and don't dare to play when the time comes. I'll let you see what a real genius is. Wang Hao, who had changed into a new mecha and had crocodile skin on his feet, smiled happily. He patted Su Chen on the shoulder, his face full of pride. Wang Meng, the first-class teacher, is actually his cousin. Being a human being means recognizing the reality. Waste is waste. Do you think that by grabbing monsters everywhere and maliciously entering the dungeon, you can hinder us from upgrading and becoming stronger, so that we can still be ranked first in the mock exam a week later? Result. Hehe. Let me tell you good news. At yesterday's meeting, the principal decided to go to the pig farm and chicken farm to purchase supplies to replenish us with wild monsters. Soon we will be able to continue to fight monsters and upgrade normally. Su Chen, your baby's plan failed after all. How about it? Are you angry? I'm just asking you if you are angry, haha. Just be honest and accept your fate. If you can't do it professionally, you can't do it. Look, Yi Fan and Dragon King both dropped out of school to deliver food and work as security guards. You don't even have a talent career. You're not as good as them. Stop messing around. You've been doing these crooked things all day long. Now you're stupid. Not only can't you stop us from upgrading, but you're dragging our old class down with you and trying to sell your ass. Quote. It's really harmful. The squad leader of Su Chen's class, Sun Chang, who was wearing a green cloak, also shook his head, looking like he was giving instructions. I don't know if he thought he changed to a new shield because he liked it. Is that so? Su Chen was slightly moved when he learned that Lao Ban actually agreed to a bet that everyone thought was impossible to win for him. Thinking of the pitiful scream of my old class yesterday when Wang Meng, the head teacher of the first class, kicked his butt violently. Su Chen's thoughts couldn't help but drift to the teaching building with his eyes. In the office, the corner of his mouth raised slightly. Don't worry, Lao Ban. This time I will let you kick him back in public. You see, he also wants to enter the owl dungeon. I'm really drunk. How can I be so shameless? I was really ignorant in the past and didn't see through Su Chen's true face. At the airport not far away, Zhao Xiaoya saw that Su Chen was always ignoring her, so she couldn't help but stand up to make her presence felt. That's right, Wang Hao, who was pursuing Zhao Xiaoya, couldn't help but echoed. Xiaoya, you were also a victim of being deceived by him in the past. Don't blame yourself. He didn't even awaken to his profession. After being exposed by the school, he shamelessly went in and grabbed monsters from us. This is really... etc. Su Chen, wait a minute. Amidst the crowds of Wang Hao, Sun Chang and others, Su Chen walked straight towards the owl copy, and just as he was about to enter the copy, a voice came from behind him. Under the gaze of the crowd, I saw a boy with a jarhead running over panting. He seemed to be holding something extremely precious in his hand. Wang Hao, Sun Chang and others couldn't help but cast curious glances. Su Chen, wait a minute. This is the career awakening potion that Miss Kasaragi asked me to give you. Sun Chang, Wang Hao, Zhao Xiaoya. The scene suddenly became quiet. The faces of the people around Su Chen who were criticizing Su Chen for not having awakened his career were extremely exciting at this moment, especially Sun Chang, who felt as if he had eaten fly shit. Why, TMD, what kind of virtues and abilities does he have? He is so valued by the goddess Ruyu that he is useless. She even gave him a professional awakening potion to help him awaken. Why can't such a good thing happen to me? Thinking that his goddess Ruizu was still running around for Su Chen, Sun Chang couldn't help but feel the urge to have brain congestion. Su Chen looked back and remembered Jarhead. Yesterday, he borrowed Jarhead's combat power meter to measure his combat data. Perhaps the only person at the scene who had actually seen Su Chen's combat power data and believed in it a little bit, Jarhead had a slightly respectful attitude towards Su Chen. He handed the special gift box containing the awakening potion in front of Su Chen. During the awakening ceremony, when Lang Ruyu sponsored some poor students to form a force for themselves, although Su Chen refused, Jarhead was one of the sponsored ones. Miss Kasaragi specifically asked me to hand it over to you. Su Chen looked at the awakening potion and felt that one of them, Lang Ruyu, who was known as the cold goddess, was also a person who was cold on the outside and hot on the inside. Obviously they were not familiar with each other and had no special grudges. But he was willing to fund him with 10 million awakening potions to help him reawaken his career. A gentleman does not care about his deeds. No matter what Lang Ruyu's intention was in wanting to help him, Su Chen understood the friendship. Of course, he still refused the awakening potion. After all, he really didn't need it. You're really ignorant, Sun Chang muttered jealously as he looked at Su Chen walking towards the owl copy. I, the goddess Ruyu, gave him the awakening potion, but he still refused. If he is so stubborn, don't go into the dungeon to grab monsters and ruin our upgrades. That's it. While refusing to accept the charity of goddess Lang Ruyu, he also went around grabbing copies to maliciously spawn monsters. He was really cool and stupid, and he took all of them. For the mock test in a week, I must use my big hard machine. Beat him again. It is rare for Wang Hao and Sun Chang to reach unity of opinion. Wait. Su Chen's refusal made Jarhead a little anxious. This was the first task Lang Ruyu gave him after he accepted Lang Ruyu's funding. If he couldn't complete it, wouldn't he be labeled as having trouble doing things in front of Lang Ruyu in the future? So when he saw Su Chen walking towards the owl copy, Jarhead quickly wanted to chase him up. But as soon as he took 2 steps, he suddenly felt a hand on his shoulder. Wait, Jarhead, I'll give it to him. Guogai turned around and saw a man wearing a gold necklace around his neck, a diamond luxury watch on his hand, and a black anima high-end suit stopping him. Zhang Feng. The appearance of the man caused the surrounding students to scream in surprise, and both Wang Hao and Sun Chang cast wary glances at him. At their awakening ceremony in Baiyun No. 1 Middle School, a total of 4 A-level career owners appeared among the boys. In addition to Wang Hao's mecha master, Sun Chang's shield hero, and the missing good friend, the only other person left is Zhang Feng, the squad leader of Class 1. A level professional swift-wind swordsman. Having mastered the power of the wind and having perfect attack, speed and agility, Wang Hao, Sun Chang and the others consider themselves to be their top rivals for 3rd place in the mock exam this time. Why, Jarhead doesn't recognize you, brother Zhang. Zhang Feng tilted his head. His tone was frivolous and his expression was arrogant, just like a playboy from a wealthy family. And that is exactly what happened. Zhang Feng is the head of Zhang Group, which is developing rapidly in hotel and catering in Baiyun City today. The only son. A rich second-generation young man with a net worth of tens of billions. No, brother Zhang. Jarhead's eyes dodge. In front of such a rich kid, a kid from an ordinary family like him can't help but feel inferior. Miss Ruyu asked me to personally deliver the awakening potion to Su Chen. Snapped. Before Jarhead could finish speaking, Zhang Feng slapped Jarhead on the pot lid, and he grabbed the awakening potion that Jarhead was holding in his arms. Snort. Brother Zhang and I are worth tens of billions. If you want to buy an awakening potion like this, I can buy 10,000 of them. I can still swallow them. Zhang Feng certainly had no idea about the awakening potion. He was meddling here, just because he didn't like Su Chen. Because they were in the same class, it was already known to everyone that he liked Lang Ruyu, but Lang Ruyu had always been indifferent to him and ignored him, but paid all kinds of attention to Su Chen. Let this matter be in the past. He admitted that Su Chen was indeed a bit arrogant in the past. Even he was a little afraid that in the future awakening ceremony, Su Chen would directly awaken to some SS-level supreme profession, which would cause a sensation across the country and shock the whole world. Therefore, although he was a little unhappy with Su Chen in the past, he suppressed all these unhappiness. I dare to be too straightforward to find trouble, but now. Su Chen is nothing. A loser who failed to awaken dares to refuse the charity of my goddess Ruyu. Today I am here to tell him that a loser should behave like a loser. Ruyu said that she would give him this awakening potion, but he didn't accept it, right? Don't worry, I will let him accept it. Although he didn't know what method Zhang Feng was going to use to get Su Chen to accept the awakening potion, but seeing that Zhang Feng didn't seem to be trying to cause trouble, Jarhead couldn't help but hesitate. If you are really worried, come with me and see how I give things to you, brother Zhang. Zhang Feng glanced at the pot lid, then patted the back cover of the pot lid, and said in a confident tone. Watch it later and study hard. Some things are not given like this. I will make Su Chen kneel down and beg us to give him the awakening potion. After saying that, Zhang Feng took the awakening potion and walked towards the copy of the owl. Jarhead struggled for a while after seeing it, but in the end he gritted his teeth and followed Zhang Feng in. Bang bang. Inside Yang's noodle shop, a palm wearing a gold watch patted the face of a weather-beaten middle-aged man. Very good, old Yang, I guess you know the truth. This is what you said. Give me the answer in a week. If you don't give me a satisfactory answer, then don't blame the manager for not giving you face. The speaker was a man wearing a suit and a gold watch, dressed like a successful person. The man was Manager Liu of the Zhang Group's marketing department, and it was he who was responsible for the acquisition of Lao Yang's store. At this moment, he patted Lao Yang's face with his hand and started talking, followed by Huang Mao and other 3 gangsters. Lao Yang was dressed simply, with a worn but white apron tied around his waist. He lowered his head and held the apron with his hands covered with age marks, showing no expression. Manager Liu didn't care. He just smoked a cigarette and looked at Lao Yang. He blew out a smoke ring on his face and joked with a smile. Lao Yang, don't think you are suffering. Speaking of this, don't you think you should thank this manager? Our Zhang Group has assets of tens of billions and is now in a stage of vigorous development. We plan to reach a scale of 100 billion within 3 years. Don't you feel honored that your Orankarten restaurant can be included in our group's plan? And you should have heard about the career awakening of No. 1 middle school some time ago. Do you know what level of profession Mr. Zhang of our group has awakened? Let me tell you about the A-level combat professional Swift Wind Swordsman. Do you know what this means? It means that in the near future, Major Zhang will become a top figure in Baiyun City and even the entire Kyushu. Ordinary people like you, who only know how to make noodles, can only look up to you and be out of reach. In the past, people like you wouldn't even have the opportunity to come into contact with people like us, Mr. Zhang, let alone no one will eat the noodles you made. Now, you are very lucky. After your noodle shop is acquired, you can come and work in the hotel under our Zhang Group. You never know when Mr. Zhang will happen to arrive at the hotel where you work and want to eat noodles. Maybe you will still be lucky enough to make pasta for our Mr. Zhang. You will witness the growth and glory of a top man. Such a big shot has eaten the pasta you made. Do you think this is your blessing? How proud of you. Lao Yang was silent. Manager Liu sneered and felt a little bored. After pressing the cigarette butt on Lao Yang's shoulder and clothes, he shook his head, turned around and greeted Huang Mao, and the 3 of them walked out. Correct. As if he thought of something again, Manager Liu turned his head again when he walked to the door of the store, with a smile on his face. The person who had yellow hair yesterday was called Su Chen, right? It seems that he is also a student of Baiyun No. 1 middle school. You said you would give me the answer in a week. If I remember correctly, a week later will be the first mock test of Baiyun No. 1 middle school. You mentioned whether he might meet our Mr. Zhang in the mock test. When the time comes, he will sign before signing the contract. How about we sit down and watch the live broadcast together? Manager Liu's smile was a little cruel. After saying this, he left. Inside an empty noodle shop, the remaining cigarette ash fell from the clothes. Only then did Lao Yang raise his head, his weathered face full of exhaustion. His cloudy eyes looked at the TV on the wall, which shone with an uncertain brightness. ... I see. So that's it. No wonder I always felt like something was missing before, but now it's finally been made up. Inside the owl copy, in the mountains and wilderness, Su Chen stood under a big tree, with excitement in his eyes. Just now, after he had cultivated the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body to the 5th posture, he suddenly realized something. The 5 postures of the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor's body, when connected, turn out to be an offensive technique, and its name is Dragon Scales. In ancient times, the Golden Jade Dragon King fed on gold and jade, which represented the way of gold. Each scale contained extremely sharp connotations. A normal person would be blinded if he looked directly at it. The dragon's body swept past the bright sun. The sharp scales are enough to cut through all obstacles. The so-called strongest defense is attack. Quote, this dragon scale method is a cutting technique that can maximize the advantages of skin refining. Su Chen pointed his fingers together into swords and pointed them at the tree trunk. He recalled in his mind the 5 methods of setting up the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor's body, with a serious look on his face and twinkling eyes. The sharpness of swords can easily cut people. This has long been a consensus among people, but how many people have thought about why swords can cut people? Is it just because it's sharp? No, the answer is friction. Place the blade on the human body and gently drag it downwards. The friction between the two is the reason why the sword can kill people easily. And the same is true for dragon scales. Aha! Su Chen's calm eyes flashed with light, and his sword finger suddenly swung horizontally. The friction between the fingertips and the tree trunk erupted into a light golden luster, which flashed away, followed by the faint sound of a dragon's roar. Call! Su Chen took a long breath. He lowered his head and glanced at his fingertips. The skin on his fingertips was white and without any damage, and the faint golden dragon scale lines disappeared. Then he took 2 steps back and looked up at the big tree in front of him. Squeak, squeak, a crack appeared in the big tree where Su Chen had cut it before. After shaking, it fell to the ground with a plop. The incision was smooth, as if it had been swept by a sharp knife and was completely invisible. This was the mark made by Su Chen with his fingers. This is the dragon scale. Su Chen looked at his masterpiece and couldn't help but laugh. The appearance of dragon scales just made up for the lack of his offensive methods. If he had understood the dragon scales a few days ago, he wouldn't have fought so hard for a long time when he conquered the rough-skinned and thick-bored wild boar king. Now he has with such a lethal dragon scale technique, his own offensive ability will be greatly improved, and he can easily kill people in the same realm. But it's still a bit raw. Su Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. The performance of dragon scales is closely related to the 5 kinds of pile skills contained in the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor's body, and he can barely perform these 5 kinds of pile skills in one breath. In order to use the dragon scales before, he stood here for a long time before preparing this attack. When it came time to actually fight, there was no time for him to prepare. So that's his next goal. Turn your ultimate move into a flat A. As long as I don't use my ultimate move, there will be no charge and cooldown time. GU. Just when Su Chen was preparing to master the use of dragon scales. As if startled by the sound of a tree falling, a black owl flew into the sky with a cooing sound. Is anyone coming? Su Chen turned his head and looked into the distance, and saw a handsome boy wearing anima walking through the woods in the distance, leading a group of people. Zhongfeng. Su Chen recognized the person. Su Chen. Zhongfeng stopped about 3 to 5 meters away from Su Chen. He put his hands in his pockets and smiled evilly, and suddenly threw something in his hand. It seems to be a combat power meter. Let's take a look. It contains combat power data belonging to me. Su Chen didn't take it. There was a bit of confusion in his eyes. He didn't understand what was going on in Zhongfeng's head. Why did you suddenly show me your combat power? The combat power meter fell to the ground. Haha, Zhongfeng didn't react at all. He just chuckled and said with disdain. Su Chen, I've heard everything you've done these days. You want to prevent us from upgrading by grabbing monsters and killing them, right? How naive. Do you think that by grabbing and killing monsters here and killing all the monsters in the dungeon, you can prevent me from upgrading? To tell you the truth, my combat power has now reached a full 250. When Zhongfeng said this, he raised his chin and his face was full of pride and self-confidence. Hiss. Young Master Zhong is awesome, Brother Zhong is invincible, so scary. With a combat power of 250, let alone now, even if we take the mock test in a week, I'm afraid I can still be in the top 3. My combat power is only over 40, which is not even a fraction of Master Zhong's. Master Zhong is so awesome, how on earth do you practice? Several younger brothers behind Zhongfeng exclaimed in admiration. Such a sound of shock made Zhongfeng's smile become more and more evil. He looked at Su Chen and mocked him. How about it? We have a transcendent level genius with a starting strength of 99. What do you think now? After more than 10 years of hard work, I have surpassed you so much in just 3 or 2 days of awakening. You must be very angry now. I'm very unwilling, but there is no way. This is fate. Just like Yi Fan and Wang Tang, 2 losers who can only deliver food and drive screws, you who have not awakened your profession must also recognize your fate. Gu. On the branch of the tree, the owl tilted its head and hooted twice. Its big round eyes seemed to be looking at a retard, unblinking and bright. Su Chen looked away. Zhang Feng took out a mysterious potion that exuded light blue light from Jarhead's hand. This is a career awakening potion. Zhang Feng shook the potion in front of Su Chen. Su Chen, to be honest, I actually admire you. Even though you are so useless, you can still make Ru Yu think about you so much and give you an awakening potion to help you awaken again. You should know very well what this awakening potion means to you. As long as you can awaken again, even the lowest life profession can help you get out of your current predicament and give you a chance to catch up with us. Quote. But, I know that our great genius doesn't bother to use these, and doesn't bother to accept food from others. As he spoke, an evil smile appeared on Zhang Feng's lips. His hand holding the awakening potion suddenly let go, and the awakening potion worth 10 million fell to the ground. Snapped. Zhang Feng stepped on it, and the potion test tube was instantly shattered by the step, and the light blue potion flowed all over the floor. Zhang Feng stepped on it wildly, and finally let out a maniacal laugh. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, quote. Quote. Zhang Feng, what are you doing? This is the awakening potion that Miss Ruyu personally ordered to give to Su Chen. Jarhead turned pale when frightened by Zhang Feng's sudden madness. Zhang Feng had promised him before that he would follow Su Chen only after he had to accept the awakening potion, but now the awakening potion was crushed by Zhang Feng. If Lang Ruyu knew about this, then he wouldn't it be? Jarhead, I think you don't understand at all. Zhang Feng seemed tired of stepping and laughing. He patted the back cover of the Jarhead, then pointed at Su Chen and said in an instructive manner. Do you know why he didn't want the awakening potion you gave him earlier? Why? Because he still has self-respect and the so-called arrogance. Unlike the two trashes Yi Fan and Wang Tang, he has not yet recognized the reality. He still thinks that he is the Su Shen who can summon the wind and the rain in the past. So if you give it to him, he won't take it. If you want him to accept this awakening potion, you can only destroy his self-esteem, break his pride, and make him recognize the reality like those two losers Yi Fan and Wang Tang. Only then will he know about the awakening potion. Valuable. I ask you, if you pass the mock exam in a week, and I beat you to the ground in front of everyone, humiliating you so hard that you look like a dog with a broken spine, will you crawl over and wipe the piece of flesh under my feet that is stained with awakening potion? Lick the land clean. Zhang Feng's words made Jarhead fall into deep thought. He thought about that scenario, and if he were brought into Su Chen's perspective, the answer would be yes. Not only would he lick the ground clean, but he would also lick clean the awakening potion on Zhang Feng's leather shoes. Isn't this the end? Ha ha ha. Zhang Feng laughed out loud. He hooked the Jarhead's shoulders, as if he completely pretended that Su Chen didn't exist. He turned around and said openly, Ruyu asked you to hand over the awakening potion to him, so you can tell me whether my method was successful, right? But. Jarhead turned to look at Su Chen. He thought of the wild boar that Su Chen punched to death that day, and how Su Chen might have a combat power far exceeding Zhang Feng's 357. Jarhead opened his mouth to say something, but Zhang Fengqiang put his arm around his shoulders and took him away. Don't worry, it's nothing to worry about. You, brother Zhang, and I have the A-level Gale swordsman profession and a combat power of up to 250. Can't we still torture Su Chen out of his psychological shadow in the mock exam? Just keep your heart in your stomach. When the time comes, I will destroy his self-esteem, break his pride, make him recognize the reality, and lick the awakening potion here clean. Ruyu will not blame you for not doing things well. Quote. The voices of a group of people gradually faded away. Gu. The owl that had been watching for a long time on the branch flew to Su Chen's shoulder. This owl's wings are jet black and shiny, and the parts of it that belong to an eagle are very handsome. However, combined with the cat's head and the way its big eyes tilt its head at 90 degrees, it feels indescribably weird. Have you hunted all the wild monsters here? Gu. One master and one beast. Looking at the backs of Zhang Feng and others, they talked slowly. It's almost done, right? This owl is a bodyguard for Xiao Meng, so compared to the wild boar king, chicken brother, kung fu rabbit and other warcraft, he allows the owl to devour more in the dungeon. At this stage, he is probably the strongest among the many warcraft. Su Chen estimated that he had devoured 90% of the wild monsters in the owl copy and combined them into one, so the combat power of his owl should be around 2255. Oops, it seems that Zhongfeng is still very powerful. Almost catching up with your fraction. After assessing the owl's combat power, Su Chen couldn't help but say in surprise. Gu. The owl held its head high and cooed twice. There is no time to practice. 7 days passed in a blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, it's almost time for the first mock exam. During these 7 days, the 10 copies prepared by the school for the students have basically been polished. There are still many wild monsters and only 2 copies left. One is the most dangerous copy of the Wolf King. The other one was the tortoise copy that was the most time-consuming and could not be beaten after a long time. At this moment, inside the turtle copy. Oh ho! Young Master Zhang is awesome, Brother Zhang is invincible. It only took 100 knives to chop the tortoise's shell into pieces. He is truly worthy of being an A-level professional wind swordsman. His attack power is really terrifying. The edge of a pebbly creek. There are 7 or 8 tortoises as big as millstones, huddled in their shells, staying on the edge of the stream like rocks, motionless. And these 7 or 8 tortoises were surrounded by 80 or 90 people. These people were like digging mines, holding weapons and swords in their hands and constantly hacking at the tortoise shells. The sword struck the tortoise's shell, causing countless sparks to fly. One operation is as fierce as a tiger, and the damage is 0.5. This is the tortoise that is famous for its defensive power among all the dungeons. Its shell is so hard that even those awakened ones who have not entered the rank, including rank 1 or even rank 2 awakeners, want to break the tortoise's shell. It will take a while. Therefore, in the wild, basically no one will take the initiative to hunt tortoises. It's such a waste of time. Breaking turtle shells is like forging iron. They don't know how many levels to upgrade if they have this time to hunt other beasts. But it was only through their hard work that they were able to get even a crack in the turtle shell. It was actually completely cut off by Zhongfeng's violent slashes in less than 100 blows. Such a powerful strength makes all the boys around him admire him. Hee. Under the sun, Zhongfeng put the sword back into its scabbard, chuckled and patted the dust on his anima, saying in a very pretentious tone. Low profile. I was just playing around. It's the upper limit of this segment. It's just a tortoise. In fact, I didn't use my full strength just now. 50 blows. If I'm serious, I only need to chop his shell 50 times to cut it in 2. Wow, it's terrifying that I, Mr. Zhang, can kill the tortoise with only 50 knives. I gave him 5,000 knives. Even the knife was broken. I couldn't even break his turtle shell. Brother Zhang, this is too awesome. I haven't seen how high Brother Zhang's strength has been in 7 days. Isn't he already rank 2? Perhaps she is even more powerful than the goddess Lang Ruyu. If that is the case, wouldn't Mr. Zhang be the first in this mock test? Su Chen is just a fool. Goddess Lang Ruyu should be conquered by a powerful man like our Mr. Zhang. Shish, be careful what you say, be careful what you say. What a talented person Ruyu is, an SS-level Hanyu Walker, and I, Zhongfeng Gale Swordsman, are not inferior to S-level professional talents to some extent, but they are not so arrogant. Even so, but when he spoke, Zhongfeng couldn't help but reveal an evil smile. It seems that he does have such an idea in his mind. After all, after chasing Lang Ruyu for so many years, he also knew that only the strong could conquer a cold goddess like Lang Ruyu. In the past, before he awakened, Su Chen was half-assed, so he was able to attract such attention from Lang Ruyu. But now if he could take Su Chen's place in the past and defeat Lang Ruyu in tomorrow's mock test, would the other party be able to do so? So he was conquered by himself. Ha ha ha, I don't know if he was thinking about shit, but Zhongfeng laughed out loud as he thought about it. After laughing, Zhongfeng lowered his head and began to think deeply, as if he was really starting to think about this issue. But with my current strength, I'm afraid it's still difficult to defeat Lang Ruyu. You have to continue to familiarize yourself with occupational skills. Next time I will try to kill a tortoise with 49 cuts. At this moment, there was a sudden commotion in the crowd in front, and someone shouted loudly. Etc. Come here and see what this is. Someone actually split a tortoise in half with just one knife. Zhongfeng. What? Pot jarhead, is the pot lid on your head too heavy, are you stupid? Even Mr. Zhang needs 50 knives to kill a tortoise. How could someone kill a tortoise with just one knife at this stage? Several of Zhang Feng's younger brothers screamed in displeasure. Even Zhang Feng frowned and cast an unhappy look. Just now he was saying that he would work hard and kill a tortoise with 49 knives next time. However, Jarhead now said that someone had chopped a tortoise to death with one knife. What are you doing? Slap him in the face, right? But what I said is true. If you don't believe me, come and take a look. Jarhead stood in front, pointing to a rock that looked like a turtle's back. This rock is called Turtle Back Rock. It is a rock formed by wind and sun after the tortoise shed its shell. This kind of rock is extremely hard. Although it is not as good as the tortoise shell, it is still harder than steel. But at this moment, the tortoise-backed rock seemed to have been cut in half in the middle. Its cuts are flat and smooth. No matter how arrogant someone is, they can tell at a glance that this piece of turtle-back rock was indeed cut off with a single knife. For a moment, several boys around him cast awkward glances. Zhang Feng's face also stiffened. In the same tortoise copy, deeper, at the edge of a wide pond, the ground is full of green grass, and the green moss is covered with gravel. On the edge of a rocky outcrop, already in a mess, the shells of multiple tortoises were split in two, and the cuts were as complete as smooth mirrors. They were cut in half like tofu. And that's exactly what happened. Su Chen walked in the middle of the gravel. The corners of his clothes were pure white, with no stains visible. All the tortoises behind him were cut in half. In front of it, there are two tortoises as big as millstones, huddled in their shells, standing like two 1-meter-high rocks on the ground. Su Chen said nothing and made no big moves. Just when passing by these two tortoises, my palms were placed on the tortoise shells, and they were lightly stroked like stroking the skin of a lover. Then, wow, dragon scales. After Su Chen took 2 or 3 steps, the two tortoises behind him were instantly split into two, blood flowed wildly, and the dragon scale sword chi came out of his body, even cutting a straight and smooth gap into the solid rock beneath him. The cut mark was as smooth as a knife. It was hard to imagine that it was a mark made casually by human hands. What's even more shocking is that this kind of expressiveness is only brought about by Su Chen gently touching it and swiping it. If someone sees it, they will definitely be mistaken for some special hidden profession. Otherwise it is simply difficult to explain this phenomenon using martial Tao and using science. But sorry, I'm a cultivator, so it's normal for my methods to be a bit mysterious. Su Chen turned around. The shadow under his feet expanded instantly, like a huge mouth of an abyss that instantly covered an area several 10 meters ahead. Swallow all the tortoises on the ground. Vitality value plus 0.05. Vitality value plus 0.05. Vitality value plus 0.05. Opening square bracket ... closing square bracket. The prompts from the cultivation panel kept ringing, and after swallowing up all 8 tortoises on the ground, Su Chen touched his belly. It's only about 60% full. Over the past week, as he continued to cultivate the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body, he was getting closer and closer to the realm of skin refining great accomplishment. His body's carrying capacity and food intake have obviously improved greatly. Just like now that he had devoured 8 tortoises in one go, he was only 60% full. At the beginning, he only ate 2 wild boars of the same size. The obvious effect of this change is that his health value increases much faster. One meal can increase the blood value by 0.5. 3 to 5 meals a day plus practicing the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body is an increase of 4 to 5 points at least. By now, his health value has reached 30 to 50 points, and he has entered the rank 1 middle level realm. With a wave of one arm, he has 30 to 50 tons of strength, which is enough to easily lift a car. Coupled with the dragon scale slashing technique that he has completely mastered, even Su Chen has difficulty predicting the level of his combat power. Besides that, looking at the turtle slowly crawling over from a distance. For 10 days in a row, except for the little black snake, he had gathered 8 monsters in the abyss. Their strength was above rank 2, and their combat power exceeded 1,000. Plus this turtle bully, that's 9 rank 2 monsters. With these 9 rank 2 monsters, after this mock test, he can go out of the city and into the jungle, but he doesn't have to worry about anything. It's enough to send him into a period of savage growth. All is ready except for the opportunity. However, it is not without flaws. In the past few days, Due to the need to practice dragon scales, it has inevitably taken up time to refine the skin with the golden and jade dragon emperor body. As a result, we still have not reached the great accomplishment of skin refining, and have not reached the state of skin as good as gold and jade. This is inevitable for a perfectionist. Su Chen looked at the sky. It's only noon now, I still have one afternoon. I wonder if I can break through the golden jade dragon emperor body to the great accomplishment state in this afternoon. Although the practice of dragon scales took up the progress of his skin refining, it greatly increased his speed of killing monsters, just like this copy of the tortoise that everyone recognized as the most difficult to kill. In fact, he had already killed him. And it only took one morning to increase the efficiency of monster spawning. Occasionally, a few fell behind and were encountered by others. Su Chen was too lazy to fight with them. So for the rest of the afternoon, let's go to the last dungeon of the Wolf King that few people go to. While adding a Wolf King to Tianyuan, I also try my best to cultivate the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body, and strive to break through to the realm of great accomplishment of skin refining today. In this way, I will be in the highest state of completeness for tomorrow's mock test. After putting the Turtle Tyrant away, Su Chen left the Turtle Dungeon and went to the Wolf King Dungeon. It was unknown how long after Su Chen left the Turtle Dungeon. Dusk. A group of people gradually came to the area where he was before, and the leader was Zhang Feng. Ah, interesting, really interesting. I didn't expect that or no. One middle school was really Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Unknowingly, another great master of swordsmanship appeared. All the students looked at the traces left on the surrounding rocky ground and were surprised. Zhang Feng, who was wearing anima, led a few younger brothers to stop in front of a cut-off turtle-back rock. There was a hint of evil in the corner of his mouth. With a smile on his face, he looked at the cutting interface in front of Turtle-back Rock, seeming to have regained his former confidence. Because he realized something. There are no corpses of tortoises around here, nor are there any blood stains. There are only some turtle-back rocks that have been unfolded. In other words, among the awakened people in their current generation, some people are practicing sword practice with turtle-back rock, and they have practiced to the point where they can separate turtle-back rock with one sword. But, aha! The sword blade in Zhang Feng's hand was unsheathed, and he drew the sword and put it away at the turtle-back rock in front of him. In one breath, the turtle-back rock, which was originally divided into two, split into four in an instant under his sword. It's just turtle-back rock that has been corroded by weathering. It's not like the back of a real tortoise. I, Mr. Zhang, can also cut it in two. I was shocked before, thinking it was a pervert who could cut a tortoise in two, but it turns out it was just a rock. He can only split turtle-back rock in two with one strike, but my brother Zhang can split it into four. In terms of strength, my brother Zhang is even better. The boys around him cheered loudly again, but Zhang Feng waved his hand. Oh, you can't say that. He can cut turtle-back rock in two with a weapon sharper than the sword in my hand. He is still quite powerful. In terms of swordsmanship, he should be second only to me. Zhang Feng gave his comments pertinently. At this moment, a bald boy hurriedly ran behind him and shouted in panic. Oh no, it's not good, brother Zhang. What's wrong, bald head? Didn't I ask you to go out and see how many turtles are left? How can you be my Zhang Feng's little brother in the future if you act in such a panic? Zhang Feng frowned and scolded him unhappily. Except for the first group of tortoises, they searched half a circle in the dungeon but couldn't find any tortoises. He asked Bald Head to go out and see how many tortoises were left in the dungeon. Tell me, there are still hundreds of them left in the dungeon. Have all the tortoises hidden in the pond? There is none left. Brother Zhang, Su Chen has killed all the tortoises. Now the outside shows that there are only 3 or 5 tortoises in the copy. What? The bald man's words made the group of young men present have incredible expressions. They couldn't understand why Su Chen killed the tortoise that took them most of a day to kill in just one day. Did you see it wrong, Baldhead? When people were still questioning whether there was something wrong with Bald Eyes. Behind the crowd, the lid of the pot lid trembled slightly, and he remembered the combat power of Su Chen Gundam 357 on the combat power tester that day. He took another look at the slash marks left on the surrounding rocks. Jarhead couldn't help but come up with a guess. Master Zhang, you said the slash marks left here could be from Su Chen. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Before he finished speaking, Zhang Feng raised his hand to deny Jarhead's outrageous conjecture. He glanced at Jarhead with an unkind look. Do you want to say that the marks here are the aftermath left after Su Chen chopped down the tortoise? It's just the aftermath mark, second only to this young master's serious stabbing. That's how you put it. Isn't Zhang Feng, my A-level professional, swift-wind swordsman, just a piece of shit in front of Su Chen? Chapter 39. I didn't say that, Jarhead quickly denied. I'm just thinking, if the traces here are not left by Su Chen, then how did he kill so many tortoises? Isn't this simple? Zhang Feng's wise eyes seemed to see through everything. He said directly, it will be over if you use poison. No matter how hard the turtle's shell is, it can't stop the poison. My mind has opened up. Not only is Mr. Zhang very strong, his IQ is also surprisingly high. Why didn't I think of using poison? Su Chen is such a beast. In order to fight against us, he actually poisoned the honest tortoise. Brother Zhang, you must teach him a lesson for us tomorrow when he takes the mock exam. The boys nearby were noisy. Zhang Feng, however, looked calm and pressed his hands calmly. First, I pointed out that Su Chen is just a loser who failed to awaken, and is nothing more than a clown. Don't mention teaching him a lesson alone in front of me in the future, otherwise it will only lower your character, Brother Zhang. Then he said that he was more interested in the mysterious swordsmanship great master who left marks here than Su Chen. Brother Zhang, if you were to face off against this mysterious great master of swordsmanship in the mock exam tomorrow, what would your score be? 10-0 open. I'm 10 and he's 0. Zhang Feng's confident words made the boys around him excited. It was indeed their brother Zhang. Do you know why he is one step ahead of me? Zhang Feng seemed to be pretending to be interested and said slowly. Why? The younger brothers also responded very cooperatively. Because the stone won't fight back. Zhang Feng stared at the slash marks on the ground, shook his finger, and said with meaningful eyes. What's the use of practicing swordsmanship with turtleback rock? There is a high wall between actual combat and training. Let's go. Since the turtle dungeon has been destroyed by that trash Su Chen, today your brother Zhang will take you to the Wolf King dungeon to see the charm of actual combat. Wow, brother Zhang, are you telling the truth? You really want to go to the Wolf King dungeon? Hearing that Zhang Feng said that he would take them to fight in the Wolf King dungeon for actual combat, the boys around him suddenly became agitated. They all looked excited, gearing up, and eager to give it a try. There was fear and excitement. Most of the wild monsters in the 10 dungeons prepared for them by the school are vegetarian or mild-tempered. Like Kung Fu Rabbit, they basically do not pose a life-threatening danger to them. Only a group of ferocious hungry monsters in the Wolf King dungeon. Wolf, if you are not careful after entering, someone may die. So after hearing that Zhang Feng was taking them to the Wolf King dungeon to practice, the people present were inevitably a little scared. But as the darlings of destiny and those who have awakened the combat profession, they will inevitably be a little more excited about this matter. Many of them have long wanted to try the Wolf King dungeon. But in the past, no one took the lead, so we didn't dare to enter. Now that Brother Zhang is taking the lead, what should we be afraid of? With Brother Zhang's strength, it's enough to kill the Wolf King copy. There won't be any danger at all. Let's go quickly, my sword is thirsty. When everyone was impatient, Zhang Feng couldn't wait to show off. The bald man standing in the crowd weakly raised his hand. Well, Mr. Zhang, there is something I haven't told you yet. When I came back, it wasn't just this tortoise copy that was gone. The copy of Wolf King has also been wiped clean by Su Chen. Zhang Feng. Everyone. Above Secret Realm Square. The calm vortex of the copy suddenly emitted a burst of violent fluctuations. Amid the various looks from the crowd in the square, Su Chen stepped out. At dusk, he stretched. Swallow it. It's all devoured. The copy of Wolf King was also conquered by him. So far, he has used all 10 copies of Secret Realm provided by the school, and there are 10 more monsters in the abyss. He has strong soldiers and horses. The offensive technique of Dragon Scale was also used by him with great proficiency. The health value has soared to nearly 50 points, completely entering the realm of the middle stage of martial artist. The specific combat power is unknown. Without using the heaven-swallowing demon technique, this simulation test has no idea what the situation will be like. No one except Lang Ruyu should be a threat to him. It's remarkable to have made so much progress in just 10 days, but the only regret is the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body still hasn't been able to reach the great accomplishment. It's still a short distance away. This flaw in perfection made Su Chen frown slightly. If only I could give him another half day. He might be able to break through the great accomplishment of skin refining. When the skin becomes like golden jade, the lethality of dragon scale technique will be increased by another level. Not to mention, the most important thing is the great accomplishment of skin refining. Skin as gold as jade can invulnerability to spears and sabers, not invaded by water or fire, not afraid of cold or heat. If he could reach this level, he would be more confident in dealing with Lang Ruyu's SS level Cold Moon Walker. But it's a pity. It's already 6 o'clock in the afternoon, school is about to end, and all the wild monsters in the 10 dungeons have been almost wiped out. There are not a few beasts to be found to devour him. It is difficult to replenish the energy he needs to cultivate to the great accomplishment. Quote, "Is it possible that we can only wait until after the mock exam to find a chance to make a breakthrough?" Su Chen frowned and thought for a long time, somewhat unwilling. But looking at the getting dusk sky, he still sighed. Never mind, I have been spending the past few days in high-intensity training, and there will be a mock test tomorrow. It is also an option to take a short rest tonight and prepare for tomorrow. Su Chen let go of his obsession. He has been busy practicing these days and has not gone to Lao Yang's noodle shop to eat noodles for a long time. I wonder if the noodle shop is still open. Thinking of this, there was a hint of sadness in Su Chen's eyes. He planned to go to Lao Yang's noodle shop first. If it's open, then go have a bowl of noodles. If it's not open, Brother Chen, etc. When Su Chen was about to leave, a familiar voice suddenly came from behind him. It turns out that my long-lost good friend Gangzi is online. For some unknown reason, in front of Su Chen, he did not put on his luxurious guardian night suit, but the ordinary white school uniform like before, which looked approachable. Brother Chen, have you forgotten? The school will distribute our qi and blood pills later. Qi and blood pill. Gangzi's reminder made Su Chen pause in his steps and a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. I actually forgot about this. Qi blood pill is a kind of elixir that assists cultivation. The market price is 10,000 yuan each. It can increase qi blood and strengthen the body. It is said that the qi blood content in a qi blood pill is 10 times that of an adult wild boar. The school usually distributes a qi and blood pill to all students more than 10 days after career awakening and before the mock exam, as an aid to break the bottleneck in the final sprint. After more than 10 days of training in the past, students have accumulated a lot of experience. After using qi and blood pills, students usually have a very obvious improvement effect. Many students who are stuck can only use qi and blood pills on this day. The health value sprinted to 10.0. Naturally, Su Chen didn't need to sprint for any vitality value. But if there is a qi and blood pill to help, maybe tonight I can really try to achieve the great accomplishment of leather refining, where the skin is like gold and jade. Then everything will be complete. Snort. A waste who hasn't even awakened his profession. It's a waste to have the nerve to give him qi and blood pills. Wang Hao, who was wearing crocodile leather shoes, walked over with a sneer. Behind him, two younger brothers, Zhang San and Li Si, who were pulling their trouser pockets, also echoed. That's right, you haven't awakened your profession, and you still acted weird in the middle to prevent us from upgrading. It was a waste of the dungeon resources prepared by the school. Now you have the nerve to ask for the qi and blood pills issued by the school. Might as well give me his share. Give me 2 qi and blood pills, and I, Zhang San, will be 100% sure tonight that my qi and blood will reach 10.0, and I will enter the realm of rank 1 professionals. When he said this, Zhang San had pride on his face. That playful look seemed to be saying to Su Chen, "You want to prevent us from upgrading. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but my blood value, Zhang San, has still increased to 10.0. I don't know, how much energy and blood does R know? One middle school master Su have now. Should it still be at 9.8? Oh, Zhang San, what are you talking about? Su Chen is R past God Su. As early as 10 days ago, his qi and blood value was 9.8. I said it must be 9.9 now. He is just waiting for the chi and blood pill issued by the school to break through. It's the same as us at 10.0. Ha ha ha, he is finally catching up with us. Jong-san and Li Si were laughing and joking, obviously still resenting Su-chen for discovering what happened in their trouser pockets. Su-chen, let me tell you, we are not from the same world. You are not worthy of me at all. Now you can see clearly. Do you think your current health value of 9.8 is very high? Do you think your combat power of more than 100 is very strong? Do you think you are very powerful because my father calls you a martial arts prodigy that I have only seen in 10 years? Ha ha. Zhao Xiaoya also stood up at this time and sneered in her mouth. Tell you the truth, Su-chen. My lady's blood value has now reached 15.0. Wow, in just 10 days, the blood value increased from 2.0 to 15.0, which is a full 13 points. Goddess Xiaoya, she is indeed one of the 4 beauties of our Baiyun No. 1 middle school. In comparison, Su-chen worked hard for more than 10 years to reach a health value of 9.8. It is simply ridiculous, but he was defeated by us in just 10 days. Goddess Xiaoya was surpassed. It's not just Goddess Xiaoya. To be honest, her blood level has reached 10.0, which is enough to press Su-chen to the ground and rub her. Zhao Xiaoya's self-exposure aroused the admiration of a group of classmates around her, which made her raise her chin proudly like a white swan. She had passionately pursued Su-chen when he was still Su-shen, but Su-chen refused to accept her, and decisively abandoned Su-chen after Su-chen failed to awaken. The one thing she wanted to prove most to Su-chen was, my lady's choice is correct. You just don't deserve me. Wang Hao, Zhao Xiaoya, Zhong-san and Li Si, as well as the surrounding students, all cast a playful look at Su-chen. Su-chen's eyes swept over everyone's faces. The atmosphere had already changed. Different from the resentment and dissatisfaction at the beginning, the increase in health value after these days of fighting monsters and upgrading seemed to give them endless confidence. At this moment, the faces of everyone looking at him were full of eagerness and eagerness to try. They all seemed to be thinking of dragging him down from the altar. How would it feel to have Su-chen, who used to be number 1 all the time, be trampled under his feet in the mock exam? Just thinking about it makes us so high. What are you going to do? I don't allow you to say that about Brother Chen. Good Brother Gangzi stood up and blocked Su-chen's sight. He felt a little heartbroken. He just felt that people like Wang Hao were going too far. In order not to hurt the self-esteem of his good brothers, he took off his powerful knight suit before coming to see Su-chen. He just didn't want Su-chen to show up in front of him. Low self-esteem. But now people like Wang Hao, whose brothers have become useless, still want to step on their brothers and get on the altar. Being ridiculed like this, he didn't need to think about it to know that his good brother Su-chen must be feeling very uncomfortable right now. Well, a sigh came from behind. Su-chen patted Gangzi's shoulder and walked out from behind Gangzi. Brother Chen, are you okay? Gangzi glanced at the malicious eyes around him and asked worriedly. I'm fine. Su-chen shook his head. He didn't want to say more. He looked up at the twisted eyes of these ignorant people and was speechless. In fact, he didn't mean to hide his own strength, except that the heaven-swallowing demon technique was a bit evil. Apart from being easily mistaken as a member of the evil god cult, he doesn't mind showing off all his other powers. It's just that in the past, he was busy training. Just practicing the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body day by day, he was exhausted and didn't want to talk, and he was too lazy to pay attention to them. And after all, we are also transmigrators. Our combined age in 2 lifetimes is enough to be their father. You can't let him care about a group of sons. But I never thought of ignoring them. Instead, they jumped higher and higher. It's really 3 days without a roof over my head. Still want to get high. In that case, a bunch of ants. Tomorrow I will let you know what the dimensionality reduction blow from the immortal cultivator is. What? Ants? Hearing Su-chen say these words, the scene was filled with excitement. Even his good friend Gangzi said, "Ah," with a look of astonishment on his face, as if he didn't expect that his good brother would suddenly say such arrogant words. The faces of Wang Hao, Zhao Xiaoya, Zhong-san, Li Si and others suddenly became extremely ugly, and their eyes were full of gloom. The most they could do was mock Su-chen as a waste. He and Su Chen actually turned around and called them ants. Mad. That's so crazy. Who does he think he is? Does he still think he is the Su Chen of the past? Times have changed now. Compared to the unawakened waste, we are the gods. Brothers, beat him. No one can compete with me. My glasses guy will be the first to shoot him in the mock exam tomorrow. The glasses guy standing next to Sun Chang, the shield hero, stole one of Sun Chang's lines. The scene was filled with darkness and extremely noisy. Su Chen didn't bother to argue with them anymore. After receiving a qi and blood pill, he turned around and left the school. He will also try to break through the realm of skin refining, great accomplishment tonight. Only in this way can he be sure to deal with Lang Ruyu, who has not shown up since the day of his awakening, without using the heaven-swallowing demon technique. As for Wang Hao, Sun Chang, and Yan Jing, they have been around for so long. He will teach them how to behave when they take the mock exam tomorrow. But before that, Yang's noodle house. Su Chen first visited Yang's noodle shop. To his relief, the noodle shop was not closed, and its green and white signboards flashed brightly among the street shops. A jingle. Master is the same as always. The welcoming bell rang, and Su Chen pushed the door open and entered. As expected, the noodle shop was empty. Among the 7 or 8 tables, he was the only one with people on it. However, the noodle shop is still clean and tidy, and it does not look dusty just because no one comes in. It seems that Lao Yang is still cleaning it every day. Dang dang dang. 4 bowls of beef noodles were placed on the table. A pair of chopsticks were handed over by a pair of rough palms stained with flour. Su Chen took the chopsticks and glanced at Lao Yang's clothes where there had been a hole burned by a cigarette butt at some point. He didn't know if it was his imagination, but he felt that Lao Yang seemed much younger today. His face was full of vicissitudes of life. The tired and numb eyes seemed to have a faint candlelight. Brother Xiaochen, your No. 1 middle school's mock test will be tomorrow. Lao Yang sat opposite Su Chen, and the two of them asked and answered questions as if they were having a normal conversation. Will you participate? Meeting. Brother Xiaochen, you have to work hard. I heard that the beautiful reporter from Baiyun TV station will rush over tomorrow to broadcast it live for you. I don't want to see you being beaten. Lao Yang gestured with his chin towards the TV hanging on the wall of the noodle shop. Su Chen continued to work hard. The two of them just chatted and asked each other, until at a certain moment, old Yang Kangran's eyes dropped, his throat rolled, he swallowed, and then said in a thoughtful voice. Brother Xiaochen, people from the Zhang group came to see me again 2 days ago. How do you say? Su Chen paused while eating noodles. I said, I'll give them the answer tomorrow. A hopeful smile appeared at the corner of Lao Yang's mouth, and he looked at Su Chen's numb eyes with an uncertain light. Ha! Su Chen didn't raise his head. He looked at the bowl of noodle soup and raised the corners of his mouth in a proud arc. Uncle, please keep your eyes open and watch carefully tomorrow. I'll let you give them a satisfactory answer. Name. Su Chen. Vitality value. 50.0. Cultivation. Mid-stage skin refining. Technique. Heaven swallowing demon technique. Perfect body tempering technique. Closing square bracket. In the room, Su Chen checked his immortal cultivation panel. He found that his qi and blood value had reached 50.0. With such a huge amount of qi and blood, in front of his classmates whose current average qi and blood value was only about 10.0, he was already considered to be outstanding, with a horizontal push, strength. However, Su Chen's target has never been Wang Hao. It was Zhang Feng and others like Lang Ruyu who had awakened the SS-level profession that caused him some pressure. Since the awakening ceremony that day, he has not seen Lang Ruyu again in the past 10 days. How far has Lang Ruyu, who possesses the SS-level Hanyu Walker professional talent and a large supply of resources from the city lord's mansion, grown to now? This was something Su Chen could not predict. So for the sake of caution, I will try to reach the realm of great accomplishment tonight no matter what. Su Chen took out the qi and blood pill. The qi and blood pill was no bigger than a marble, round and jade-like, with a faint fragrance exuding from it. Great accomplishment of leather refining, skin like gold and jade, invulnerability to spears and sabers, invulnerable to water and fire, no fear of cold or heat. This state coupled with his high health value of 50, Su Chen can achieve this even without using the heaven-swallowing demon technique. Confidence suppressed Lang Ruyu to the ground. This is what he promised to Lao Yang. I am the leader of the college entrance examination in June, how could I fail in this first step and have an accident? A light flashed in Su Chen's eyes. He stopped thinking about it, and after holding his breath and concentrating, he swallowed the qi and blood pill in one gulp. Boom! Baiyun City, in the city lord's palace. A heavy door suddenly opened, the cold air was rampant, and the ground was covered with frost. Congratulations on the end of the retreat, miss. A beautiful girl with blue hair and blue eyes walked out of the room. Her long hair was as deep as the ocean. Each hair strand shone with the light of the moon and was as bright as a sapphire. Her long hair blew gently in the night breeze. Elegance and nobility flow like silk. The girl's eyes are cold, like an iceberg goddess, with a hint of natural disdain and indifference on her expressionless face, just like the top of the lonely snow mountain, cold, arrogant and lonely, exuding an irresistible charm. The girl is Lang Ruyu. After her career awakening, she did not go to the school dungeon to fight monsters and level up like ordinary classmates. Instead, she practiced in seclusion for 10 days. Name: Lang Ruyu. Occupation: SS level cold moonwalker. Closing square bracket. Vitality value: 40.0. Under the moonlight, inside the breezy courtyard. The old housekeeper who welcomed Lang Ruyu out of seclusion simply used the combat power tester to test Lang Ruyu's cultivation results, and then applauded and praised. Miss, you are truly an SS-level professional talent. In just 10 days, the vitality value can be increased from 9.6 to 40.0. Such talent is enough to rank among the top in the country. Lang Ruyu walked in the courtyard. Her figure is slender and elegant, like a carefully carved crystal artwork, exuding a dizzying brilliance under the moonlight. Her slender legs are as straight and powerful as 2 white jade columns. Whenever she moves around, her beautiful legs sway gently in the moonlight, like dancing willow branches, exuding endless charm. Facing the old housekeeper's praise, her cold and delicate face showed no expression at all. She just said in a crisp voice as she passed by, "Tell me what happened during my retreat." "Yes, miss." The old butler gave a slight salute. He followed Lang Ruyu and walked towards the villa opposite, while telling what happened these days. Lang Ruyu frowned slightly when she heard what Su Chen had done and how Zhang Feng had thrown away the awakening potion she gave to Su Chen. But then he seemed to agree with Zhang Feng's approach, and his frown relaxed again. Zhang Feng is right. I ignored this problem. Su Chen was called a genius in the past and ranked first every year. It is inevitable that he would feel arrogant in his heart. The failure of this awakening may be a big blow to him, but of course it is not enough to dispel the arrogance in his heart. If you want him to accept the awakening potion presented by me, you really need to dispel his arrogance according to Zhang Feng's words. Arrogance, shatter his boring self-esteem and make him realize the reality completely. Quote, "Momentary honor and disgrace are not shame, and accepting charity is not debasement. You can obviously seize the opportunity and break out of the quagmire, but choose to give up because of your pride and arrogance. You are a fool. I hope that after experiencing setbacks, Su Chen can grow up and realize this. Otherwise, he won't even have the chance to see my back in the future." Although Lang Ruyu's words revealed arrogance and coldness, as an old housekeeper who watched Lang Ruyu grow up, she still felt that Lang Ruyu was a little too concerned about Su Chen. In the past, except for the one more than 10 years ago, when did my young lady become so interested in someone of the opposite gender? The old housekeeper couldn't help but frown when Lang Ruyu seemed to accept Su Chen as long as he was willing to bow his head. He frowned. He admits, Su Chen is indeed a bit handsome, probably just a little less handsome than he was when he was younger. But miss you, well, Lang Ruyu cast her gaze over, I told you, old housekeeper, that you think too much. I don't have that kind of thoughts towards him. As if she didn't want to say more on this topic, Lang Ruyu turned to speak in a calm tone. Get that for me tomorrow. I'm going to try to break through the 50 blood level in one breath. But, miss, tomorrow is the mock test for No. 1 middle school. Aren't you going to take part? The old housekeeper couldn't help but wonder after Lang Ruyu said she wanted him to prepare for that mock exam. Lang Ruyu turned her head with a pair of ice blue eyes, deep and sharp. Do you think I need to participate? With my HP value of 40.0, even without using Cold Moonwalker's occupational skills, I have the ability to sweep the entire field. School mock exams and the like are a complete waste of time for me. For Leng Ruyu, in the past exams, Su Chen had pressured her, so she was still somewhat interested in taking part. But now that Su Chen was completely pinned down by her, and he would never be able to stand up, how could she still be interested in taking part in some boring mock test? My goal is to take the National College Entrance Examination in 3 months. Leng Ruyu's eyes looked into the distance. The old housekeeper also nodded behind him and said yes. Really, with your current strength, miss, the entire Baiyun number 1 middle school, including Su Chen, combined, is no match for you, miss. Taking part in a mock exam is really a waste of time. This dazzling event where all the prodigy monsters from Kyushu gather together is where you shine. But how could he know? It was precisely because Leng Ruyu did not participate that she avoided the chance of being fired by Su Chen. Ruizu, don't take the mock test tomorrow. As my candidate for the future saintess of the light god religion, this kind of thing organized by the school has no meaning to you. Nu, don't forget to come to the Temple of Light for baptism tomorrow morning. The divine liquid of light that I applied for you from the temple headquarters has been delivered. This is a very precious thing, and it is extremely rare in our Guangming cult. It can help you strengthen your foundation, narrow the gap with the heirs of the big families, and prepare for the college entrance examination in 3 months. That is your stage. Well, we have to look at the situation. The bright moonlight hangs upside down in the sky. Downstairs of Xingchen apartment, a beautiful girl with pink hair appeared. She was wearing a pink and white short skirt, which was light and elegant. She swayed gently with her steps, looking a little playful and cute. She held a package in her arms, which was bulging as if filled with very important things. The beautiful girl held it tightly in her arms, pressing the full and graceful curves of her chest into another wonderful arc. The girl seemed to be in a good mood. Her bright eyes were bouncing as she walked, and she smiled shyly, shining like stars in the sky. Her slightly raised corners of her mouth seemed to be living in happiness. It depends on the situation. Next to the girl was an old woman with silver hair. The old woman was naturally the old woman Lu Yun. At this moment, there was some confusion on her old face. What's going on? Could it be that Ruizu, do you have anything else to do tomorrow? Bai Ruizu is an S-level high priest of light profession owner, and Lu Yun has always trained her as a candidate for the future saintess of the light religion. If anything happens, just tell me and I will have someone help you solve it. Can't delay your practice. 10 days ago, she persuaded Bai Ruizu to go out to practice with her. The rank 1 stage was about getting familiar with her profession. The rank 2 stage was about starting to receive baptism and taking training resources to replenish her foundation. The rank 3 stage, she didn't want Bai Ruizu to be distracted and delayed by other matters regarding this prepared training plan. No need, Protector Lu. Brother Su Chen might have to take a mock exam tomorrow. I'm going to go there in person to cheer him up. What? Lu Yun was stunned for a moment. She thought that Bai Ruizu was avoiding the baptism of the divine liquid of light tomorrow because there was some important matter to deal with, but it turned out that she was cheering up a passerby who had only appeared in 3 chapters. Thinking of the bulging things in Bai Ruizu's bag, Lu Yun, who seemed to have figured something out, opened his mouth and wanted to persuade him some more. But Bai Ruizu waved her hands impatiently and said goodbye to go upstairs. Okay, no more talking. I'm going to prepare dinner for Brother Su Chen first. I don't allow anyone to say that Brother Su Chen is vain. Wait, Lu Yun stopped Bai Ruizu in time. Facing Bai Ruizu's probing eyes, she shook her head, feeling a little helpless. That's it, that's it. If you want to cheer him up tomorrow, go ahead. But the matter of the divine liquid of light is of great importance. I have to personally take care of it in the temple and cannot accompany you. For your safety, I will let Jack lead a team of light knights to follow you. Jack, thinking of this annoying man, Bai Ruizu frowned slightly, but she also knew that if she didn't agree, I'm afraid Lu Yun wouldn't agree easily to her plan to cheer her brother Su Chen up tomorrow. Bai Ruizu could only nod and agree. Don't forget to come back and be baptized by the God of Light after you finish cheering him up. Nu. After responding to Lu Yun's tireless nagging, Bai Ruizu ran into the apartment with the package in her arms, and soon got on the elevator and disappeared from sight. Lu Yun also withdrew his gaze at this time. Her eyes were on the 9th floor of the apartment, and she murmured with a blank look in her eyes. Go and have a look. It's good to go and see the scene. It won't take long anyway. After all, in Lu Yun's view, Su Chen was just a passerby who failed to awaken. He might be the first to be eliminated in the mock test tomorrow. It would only take 10 minutes to go back and forth, so it wouldn't delay anything. And more importantly, when you rush to the scene and see with your own eyes how he was defeated and how ugly he was, the perfect image of that kid in your heart will naturally be shattered. By then you should have understood that he, a martial arts practitioner, is not from the same world as you. Gu. Under the quiet moonlight, there was a sound of birds calling, and Lu Yun, who was murmuring, turned his head following the sound. On a telegraph pole not far away, she saw a dark and handsome owl, tilting its head to look at her. A pair of bright, big eyes, revealing a blood-red luster. Just when Lu Yun felt something strange about this owl. Wow, under the moonlight, the owl flaps its wings and flies high. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, viewers. The much-anticipated first mock test of Baiyun No. 1 Middle School finally kicked off today. The next day, breaking dawn. In Baiyun No. 1 Middle School, the host's passionate voice came from the martial arts field. Let's first introduce the rules of this mock exam. This mock exam is mainly a ring match. It is mainly divided into 2 stages. The first rank 1 stage is a group battle mode. Please follow the direction of my finger. I saw 5 large rings in the central area of a huge building similar to the Colosseum. The 5 rings are arranged in the east, south, west, north and center. The radius of the 4 outer rings is 500 meters and the diameter is 1 kilometer. It can accommodate 800 people at the same time. In the first rank 1 stage, the group battle mode, all students are invited to draw numbers to enter the 4 outer rings and form teams freely. Only the last person left is qualified to enter the 5th ring in the center to determine the top 4 candidates for this mock exam. The rules are simple and rough. First, a melee, then a duel, 4-1, and a defending mode. The higher the ranking, the richer the reward. No need to explain too much. The students who are already ready and at the peak of their intelligence have understood the rules of the mock exam just by listening once. So before the mock exam begins, let's introduce a few special guests. First, the first sponsor of this mock exam, the founder of Zhang Group, and the pride of our No. 1 Middle School, the parents of a level professional awakener, the swift swordsman Zhang Feng. Father Zhang and Mother Zhang are speaking. As the camera moved, a middle-aged man with slightly white temples, shiny hair, and standard entrepreneur glasses appeared in the camera. His face was flushed and he waved to the camera with joy. Good morning, classmates. I am Zhang Feng's father, Zhang Yangwei. In this mock exam, friendship comes first and exam comes second. I hope everyone can have a good time. All tea and water expenses will be paid by my Zhang Group. Wow, Zhang Feng's father's generous speech caused a burst of cheers at the scene. Young Master Zhang is mighty and generous. I wonder if our father still needs a godson. Quote. The flattery of his younger brother made Zhang Feng, who was standing in the crowd, smile proudly. However, there is always someone better. Before the students' discussion subsided, another loud shout came from the microphone. Zhang Feng's mother loves you. This mock exam, Mom believes you will definitely get the first place. The classmates turned their heads and saw that a beautiful woman with a charming figure, wearing a red stepmother skirt, with a plump figure and a mature atmosphere, took the microphone and appeared in the camera. The beautiful woman sitting next to Zhang Yangwei was Zhang Feng's mother, Hong Yuyao. Wow, the crowd cheered even louder. I didn't expect Zhang Feng's mother to be so beautiful. It's like this, the charm is still there. Brother Zhang, do you still need a godfather? Get lost. I don't know who said this, which made Zhang Feng turn around and curse with a dark face. Okay. Quote, seeing that the students were a little too excited. The host quickly took the microphone back. Don't get excited. We have other special guests who haven't been introduced yet. After comforting them, the host asked the camera to cut to another direction. Next, please welcome our second special guest. Miss Xiaoli, a beautiful reporter from Baiyun TV station. Xiaoli, who has a sweet appearance and wears a formal host's black silk uniform, appeared in the camera and waved to multiple cameras. Hello everyone, I am Xiaoli from Baiyun TV station. This time, I will live broadcast the situation of the mock exam of No. 1 middle school for you. I will also accompany you to witness what kind of ending the fallen teenager of No. 1 middle school will eventually have in this mock exam. The comments were flying, and the crowd was boiling. After all, those present were still high school students. Compared with the temptation of Cao Zi, most of them were normal people who liked black silk uniforms. In addition, Xiaoli was a famous beautiful reporter in Baiyun City, and many of her classmates were her fans. It was normal for the cheers to be a little loud. Some people were even eager to get on the stage and perform well in front of Xiaoli. But don't get excited yet, there are still experts. There is another special guest that we haven't introduced yet. Next, we will invite our third special guest for this mock test. The beautiful law enforcement officer from the Baiyun City Law Enforcement Bureau, Hatsune Law Enforcement Officer, speaks. Zhao Qian appeared in the camera wearing a tight black leather jacket that fit perfectly, with well-shaped curves, slender and firm legs, delicate facial features, and a dash of heroic spirit that showed off her alternative allure. Hello everyone, my name is Zhao Qian. For the next mock test, please be realistic and use your strength as much as you have. Don't choose to cheat, otherwise if you are discovered by me, I will punish you severely. Zhao Qian's stern speech made the fiery atmosphere at the scene quiet down for a while, but then an even more enthusiastic explosion sounded in the center of the martial arts arena. Sister is so sassy. Tread on me with high heels. The students cheered enthusiastically, the birds were excited, and the blood of the beasts was boiling. They could not wait to go on to the battle for 300 rounds. The host seemed to know that the atmosphere was up and there was no need to delay it any longer. So, after looking at the sky at breaking dawn, the host shouted while holding the microphone. I know the students can't wait to start the exam. So I won't say much more next time. Start directly to the last step before our mock exam begins. Please, our great principal of No. 1 middle school will speak. The viewing platform is in the center. A thin old man with a white beard stood up and said to the camera and the students in the audience. Teachers, classmates, everyone, good morning. I'm the principal of No. 1 middle school. March is full of life, breaking dawn in the morning, and we will welcome a feast of career and talent. The morning dew fills the campus, and the flower of courage blooms in the heart. March is the time when heroes come out of their youth, determined to win, in this passionate moment, in this passionate moment, in this moment when challenges are about to come. As the principal of the school, I would like to say a few words here to deliver a mobilization speech for everyone to boost our morale and stimulate our potential. What follows is the text of my speech, blah blah blah. The students who were originally ready to applaud were dumbfounded when they heard the principal began to speak at length. It turns out I haven't finished speaking just now. This is just the beginning. There was an irritable brother in the live broadcast room who started scolding him directly. Can this principal be a little less pushy? He was like this when I was in elementary school, and now that I have graduated from college, he is still like this. He's the only one who has a lot of things to do. However, the principal seemed to know that everyone's patience was limited, so he only used half of his skills this time. Therefore, an hour later, that's all I have to say. Next, I ask the students to give full play to the splendor of their careers. The principal sat down. Then, our vice principal is invited to speak. I would like to ask the dean to speak. Please invite the head teachers of each grade 3 class to come on stage. 3 hours later, the sun shines brightly at noon. When all the classmates were already sitting on the floor and about to fall asleep. Boom, a heavy drumbeat sounded loudly on the Marshall Dow field. Students, wake up. All the class teachers have finished speaking. Baiyun No. 1 middle school, the first mock exam is about to begin. Please wash your hair and get ready for the exam. Wow, it's finally started. The old fools have finally finished talking. I've been dreaming about getting first place, but it's only starting now. The drowsy atmosphere in the martial arts arena suddenly became as noisy as a busy city. The students were ready to fight and their emotions were mobilized again. Next, Please line up in class and come forward one by one to draw your own ring number. Prepare to enter the examination room and go to the ring." The host spoke again in a very high voice, covering the noise of the whole audience. But this time, when the host said that he would draw a number to go to the ring, the hot atmosphere on the scene suddenly quieted down. Unlike the lively number drawing imagined, unexpectedly, no student immediately took the initiative to come forward to draw a number. All the students looked in the same direction at the same time. There in the team of Class 2, Grade 3, there stood a handsome young man, with a tall figure, black hair, and fair skin that shimmered like gold and jade under the sunlight, as if emitting a faint luster, dazzling people's minds. Originally, I didn't know why everyone was looking in that direction. Zhang Feng's mother, Hong Yuyao, a beautiful woman wearing a red stepmother's skirt, saw it. Her mind couldn't help but ripple. It set off ripples. What a handsome young man. ... Great accomplishment of refining skin like gold and jade. But invulnerability to spears and sabers, water and fire are not invaded, cold and heat are not afraid. This realm is better than basic refining skin accomplishment, leather like cowhide, with a qualitative leap. Quote, "The skin on the body is like gold and jade, extremely tough, strong when encountering strong, hard when encountering hard, hard and soft. Not only can the collision of swords and guns produce sparks, but more importantly, it can perfectly restrain its own breath, resist severe cold and heat, and be immune to fire and ice damage to a certain extent, which is equivalent to adding points of physical resistance and magic resistance at the same time. It has gradually transcended the cognition of the world and started to develop towards the perspective of fantasy cultivation." Quote, "Therefore, it is naturally not so easy to break through this realm." Quote, "After swallowing the blood and chi pill yesterday, Su Chen did not actually break through, and was still a lot behind. He thought that he could only take this flawed attitude in this mock exam, but he did not expect that Bai Ruizu would come to his house later and bring him a pot of delicious food. He didn't know what was in it. After eating it, he was full of energy and blood. It took 33 sets of Jinyu Dragon Emperor body to calm down the hot blood and chi. It was because of this that he broke the bottleneck and reached the realm of great accomplishment of skin refining. Skin like gold and jade. Under the sun, Su Chen looked at his fair and delicate palms and clenched his fists. Who would have thought that this palm, which looked like a piano calligrapher's pure hands, had the strength of a golden dragon scale? After Su Chen failed to awaken, he didn't go for beauty treatments. Why did he become a white face? He has recognized the reality and wants to be with a rich woman, right? Look, Zhang Xiao's mother's eyes are straight when she looks at him. No, you should say that Zhang Xiao's father's face is dark when he looks at him. There were waves of discussions in the crowd. Many people were jealous of Su Chen's handsomeness, and they could only use words such as white face and waste who failed to awaken to belittle Su Chen to get some pitiful psychological comfort. There was a lot of noise and discussion around, but the strange thing was that no one went up to draw a number first, as if Su Chen didn't move, no one would move. Please come and draw a number to enter the examination room, the mock exam is about to start. The host urged twice, but still no one started to act. All the students were looking at Su Chen. Su Chen naturally knew why. You all want to step on me, right? Then come on. He withdrew his gaze from his palms, his deep gaze swept over the various faces of the students around him, and the corners of his lips curled up. They had been waiting for this moment for a long time, and so was he. Calling him useless in front of him every day, you really think you have no temper, right? If he hadn't been busy practicing in the past and had no time to pay attention to these miscellaneous fish, otherwise he would have taught him a lesson, and this mock test is exactly what he wanted. Today, he is going to make this group of miscellaneous fish recognize the reality and know what a dimension-reducing blow from an immortal cultivator is. It also saves people from having trouble with him all day long. Therefore, Su Chen is very willing to participate in this mock test and is satisfied with it. Perhaps for him, the only regret about this mock exam was that the school prepared 4 arenas for them. The 4 examination rooms were divided into 4, so the whole school couldn't compete in one big arena. As a result, he couldn't beat all the classmates in the school. I could only beat a quarter of the people who were in the same arena with me. It's a pity. After Su Chen sighed with some regret, he looked away from the faces of the surrounding students. Without refusing, he stepped forward to draw numbers. Wherever he passed, everyone made way for him. Wang Hao, Sun Chang, Zhang Feng and others were all excited and gearing up. Why didn't they go up first to draw numbers and give this opportunity to Su Chen? Was it because they wanted Su Chen to show off? No, of course not, they just want to know which ring number Su Chen has drawn, so that they can follow up and give Su Chen a beating. In this mock test, I heard that neither Lang Ruyu nor Bai Ruizu will participate. The first and second places originally booked by them are now vacant. This means that the first place in this mock test is very likely to be in the mock test. Produced among 4 A-level talent professionals. Zhang Feng, Wang Hao, Sun Chang, Zhao Gang. Teacher Chen, who do you think among these 4 people will come first in this mock test? When Su Chen stepped forward to draw numbers. On the high platform, the head teacher of Class 1, a muscular man, laughed out loud. He looked at the head teacher of Su Chen's class and said with a pretentious expression on his face. Oops, I almost forgot. Compared with who gets first place, Mr. Chen, what you are saying now is that you care more about your own butt. Wang Meng, the head teacher of the first class, smiled evilly, his eyes flashed over the old class's butt, he stuck out his tongue, licked his lips greasily, and said with an evil smile. Don't forget the bet between us. If Su Chen fails to get into the top 3, I hope you can raise your butt happily. It's rare that reporter Xiaoli is here. I think everyone in the live broadcast room would also like to see me use my newly bought leather shoes and kiss you hard. But. Right, Miss Xiaoli. Xiaoli was disgusted by Wang Meng's brother's greasy remarks and moved to the side without saying anything. But the audience in the live broadcast room started to cheer and cheer. Okay, I just like this kind of entertainment show. Speaking of which, Goddess Lang Ruyu and Bai Ruizu are not participating this time. This is good news for Su Chen's class teacher. The original bet was that Su Chen would be in the top 3, but with Lang Ruyu and Bai Ruizu in front, he said he was in the top 3. In fact, there was only one quota, but now that the 2 of them don't participate, there are only 3 quotas. Maybe Su Chen can really squeeze in. A great genius who has not been able to awaken any profession has now squeezed into the top 3 places in the assessment of A-level and B-level professionals. Thinking about it really makes my blood boil. Ha ha ha. There was humorous laughter in the live broadcast room, and Wang Meng, the head teacher of Class 1, was also angry. Su Chen's old classmate Chen Guangzong was so angry that he was shaking all over. But he couldn't say anything. After all, when he agreed to the bet, he simply wanted to get the benefits he deserved for Su Chen. He never thought that Su Chen would be in the top 3 to help him win the bet. Su Chen didn't even have a career. No matter how outstanding martial Dao talent is, how can it compare with various powerful A-level and B-level combat professions? So even though Wang Meng kicked his nose and jumped repeatedly, and Lao Ban was so angry that his wig fell off, he could only endure it, cover his buttocks and wait quietly for the ending to come. Number 3. On the lottery table, Su Chen turned around and showed the number in his hand with a smile to Wang Hao, Zhang Feng, Sun Chang and other ants who wanted to step on him. I wonder who will be lucky enough to be on the same stage with me next, Sun Chang, Wang Hao, or Zhang Feng. Wow! The crowd instantly became excited, and countless people rushed to the lottery table. Number 3. Su Chen is in examination room 3. Grandpa, Grandma, Dad, Mom, and 18 generations of ancestors have blessed me and I will definitely win the exam room number 3. TND, this loser Su Chen will definitely be eliminated in the preliminary round. If I can't pick number 3, how will I step on him in the future? Ha ha ha. Number 3. No. 3. I got it, Master Dao, ha 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 ha. Ah, why am I in the number 1 ring? I didn't get the number 3 ring. The scene was chaotic. The person who won the number 3 ring looked like he had won a lottery jackpot worth hundreds of millions. He smiled crookedly. Those who knew it was the number of the number 3 ring he had drawn. Those who didn't know thought he had taken the simulated test. The first one. Those who didn't win the number 3 ring and couldn't share the chaotic battlefield with Su Chen were beating their heads on the ground and crying, as if their parents were dead, like they were mourning an heir. Please, you must let me draw number 3. Brother Chen, it's up to me to protect him. Seeing more and more people rushing up to the number 3 arena and surrounding Su Chen, his good friend Gangzi rubbed his hands anxiously. With so many people going up there, if he hadn't been there to protect him, wouldn't Brother Chen have been beaten up by a group of people? No, as a good brother, he would never let this happen. Brother Chen will let me protect you. Even if this time it is inevitable that I will expose the powerful power of an A-level profession and make Brother Chen feel inferior in front of me. Even if after this time, there may be a rift between Brother Chen and me. There is a sad thick barrier, but even so I will protect Brother Chen. My patron saint, please wish me to win the number 3 ring. Zhao Gang roared angrily and took out his hand from the lottery box. The number in hand shows exactly no. 3. Yeah. Zhao Gang suddenly jumped up happily and looked in the direction of Su Chen, clenching his hands into fists and his eyes vividly glowing. Brother Chen, don't be afraid. Good brother, I'm here to protect you. I didn't win. Among the first team, Zhang Feng looked at the number of arena number 1 in his hand and frowned. He had promised before that he would humiliate Su Chen in public, defeat Su Chen's self-esteem, and make Su Chen kneel down to lick the awakening potion. But now as a man who promised to leave a permanent psychological shadow on Su Chen, he could now that I haven't won a single stage, it's a bit troublesome. With Su Chen's worthless strength, he would definitely have been eliminated in the melee at the beginning. There is no way he could have stayed at the end and gone to the central arena to compete with me in the Imperial City. Zhang Feng looked at Su Chen in arena number 3. After his eyes changed, he finally sighed. Oh, forget it. At worst, after the mock exam, I will come to you in private to leave a psychological shadow on Su Chen. Anyway, the effect is about the same. Zhang Feng shook his head and stopped thinking about these things. Compared with Su Chen, a third-tier kid who has not even awakened his profession, he is more concerned about the swordsmanship great master hidden in the tortoise copy, where? As the owner of the A-level professional Gale swordsman, Zhang Feng's favorite thing is to defeat others in their areas of expertise and leave an indelible psychological shadow on them. Hee, can you beat me in sword fighting? Next to the trash can, Zhang Feng sneered and threw the ring number in his hand on the ground. Also not drawn into arena number 3, which felt a bit regretful, was Wang Hao, who was driving a mecha. He looked back helplessly. Good luck to you, Brother Wang, I won the number 2 ring. I can't let you taste my big hard mecha. Hee, Brother Wang, don't worry, we have won the number 3 ring. We brothers will teach you a lesson for your part. Zhang San and Li Si, who were in their pants pockets, looked at Su Chen with the numbers of the number 3 ring in their hands. He laughed maliciously. The two of them will pay back 10 times as much today as they did for scaring the shit out of their trouser pockets that day. Ho ho ho. Seeing that neither Zhang Feng nor Wang Hao had won the lottery, Sun Chang, who was wearing a green cloak, looked at the number 3 in his hand and smiled proudly. He even showed it to Zhang Feng and Wang Hao as if he was deliberately showing off. The person shook his head and shook his head, speaking in a green tea tone. Oh, I'm so sorry. I accidentally got it. Actually, I don't want to go up and step on Su Chen. He's just a scumbag who hasn't awakened talent. There's no point in stepping on him. But who told me to win the number 3 ring? I have no choice but to go up. Green tea looked like he needed a beating. Zhang Feng and Wang Hao gritted their teeth and hardened their fists, but there was nothing they could do. They were unlucky enough not to be in the same ring as Su Chen. I can only swear silently in my heart that if I have the ability, I will finally go to the central arena to fight in the Imperial City and see if I don't break your broken shield. Hee. Facing the gnashing eyes of the two men, Sun Chang smiled proudly, like a winner who had won the jackpot, and ignored the two losers Zhang Feng and Wang Hao. His gaze swept over a pink figure on the auditorium not far away. Bai Ruizu is standing there. If I can majestically defeat Su Chen on the stage and trample him under my feet, Ruizu may have a crushing impression on Su Chen, a loser, and she may have a different view of me. With this mentality, Sun Chang stared at Su Chen in the center of the number 3 ring, licked the corner of his mouth, and walked forward full of fighting spirit. The green cloak swung violently behind him. It's time for the mythical of the past to come to an end. From now on, it will be a legend written by my shield hero Sun Chang. Today, Sun Chang, his shield hero, will use Su Chen as a stepping stone to embark on the road of becoming a king again. Soon all the candidates will be drawn. He boarded his own examination room. Looking around, it was crowded and densely packed, with at least 500 to 600 people on each stage. And now on stage 3. Led by Sun Chang, Zhang San, Li Si, Xiao Er, Wang Wu, Ma Zi, and other classmates stared at Su Chen, who was surrounded by them in the center of the ring, and laughed maliciously like flies rubbing their hands. Hey hey hey, you are already surrounded by a group of us. Su Chen, are you ready to die? Facing the malicious looks of the lucky ones, headed by Sun Chang, Su Chen smiled gently, raised his finger and corrected, I'm not alone surrounded by a group of you, but a group of you. I'm surrounded by people. Ha ha ha, oh my god, crazy, our great genius Su is still so crazy. You are worthy of Su Shen, who dares to call us ants. You are still immersed in the glory of the past. You surrounded a group of us. Okay, okay. Originally, I, Zhang San, still had a wait-and-see attitude, thinking that so many people would beat you up. The waste who failed to awaken is a bit too bullying, now he has to end. I want to see how you can surround us all by yourself. Su Chen's words stirred up 1,000 waves. The students who had originally wanted to step on Su Chen's idea of becoming a leader stopped pretending to be angry and surrounded Su Chen from all directions. The crowd was loud and the momentum was extraordinary. Everyone started to speak provocatively, trying to get Su Chen to say a few more words, but Su Chen stopped talking after those words. He lowered his eyes and stared at the marble floor 3 meters in front of him, expressionless and silent. Language. It's not his character to talk. When the exam bell starts, he will naturally understand that these people know what it means to be ruthless and don't talk much. However, Su Chen didn't speak at this time, but he was regarded as a coward. Many people joked and said, haha, look at him, he was so scared by me that he didn't dare to speak. Everyone, please be kind and don't scare our great genius Su. It would be bad if you scare people so much that they dare not take the exam and just surrender. At this time, my good friend Gangzi also came over and patted Su Chen on the shoulder, saying, Brother Chen, don't be afraid. I will try my best to protect you. Su Chen, do not know why. Looking at Gangzi's generous back in front of him and the ridicule of a group of miscellaneous classmates around him, Su Chen suddenly thought about it all his life. If I had not chosen the SSS level profession that sacrificed his destiny's son at that time, and entered the If line, what kind of plot would be unfolding now? ... All candidates for the first mock test of Baiyun number 1 middle school have entered the arena examination room. There are still 5 minutes left before the exam bell rings. During this 5-minute adjustment time, please be patient. Using this time, let me briefly say that in order to encourage everyone to do their best in this mock test, our school has spent huge sums of money to provide a large number of chi and blood pills as rewards. Anyone who reaches the top 100 with final results will receive a chi and blood pill as a reward. For each person who advances, the chi blood pill reward will be increased by 1. The 100th place will receive 1 chi and blood pill as a reward, the 99th place will receive 2 chi and blood pills as a reward, and the first place will receive a full 100 chi and blood pills. Wow! The news announced by the host made the students on the stage excited. Chi and blood pill. The school actually gave out a chi and blood list as a reward. A chi blood pill is worth 10,000 yuan. How much does the school have to spend to give out rewards to the top 100 students? Is there anyone who is good at math who can teach me how to calculate it? Every time you advance 1 place, you can get 1 more chi and blood pill. If you put it this way, the first place in this mock test will get 100 chi and blood pills, which is a total of 1 million. No wonder all the students exclaimed in surprise. Although they have all awakened to the combat profession, they have only just awakened after all. Most of them still belong to ordinary families, the kind where their parents can barely earn 10,000 yuan a month. Therefore, for students of this age, a chi and blood pill worth 10,000 yuan is already a rare and huge sum of money. Even Su Chen, who was thinking about the If line, raised his head in surprise. He also tasted the effect of chi and blood pill yesterday. 1 chi and blood pill can hold up 10 wild boars, which is indeed of great use to him who wants to perfect the body tempering technique. If he had 2 chi and blood pills yesterday, he might be able to break through to the realm of great accomplishment in one go without drinking the mysterious treasure soup by Ruizu cooked for him. Now, although he has reached the great accomplishment of the Golden Jade Dragon Emperor body and does not need to deliberately train his skin anymore, there are 9 stages of perfect body tempering. The rank 1 stage of skin refining is over, and he is about to enter the rank 1 stage of blood training and flesh training. The rank 1 stage consumes more energy and blood. This reward from the school comes at the right time. If I can have 100 chi and blood pills, it will be enough for me to cross the rank 2 stage and push the perfect body tempering technique into the rank 3 stage in one go. After hearing this news, classmates, are you excited and excited? You can't wait to start the exam and get a good ranking. Don't panic, I have another big news to announce. In order to motivate classmates to win the first place and compete in the competition, our sponsor Zhang Group, Mr. Zhang, specially prepared a mysterious prize worth 100 million for the first place in this mock exam. Wow, the whole audience was completely shocked. What the hell, how much? Did I hear it right, 100 million? What on earth is a mysterious prize worth 100 million? Young Master Zhang, our father, is too generous. It would be great if he could just give me the 100 million prize. Not to mention other classmates, even Zhang Feng himself was shocked on the number 1 stage, and he thought so in his heart. In front of the camera, Zhang Yangwei smiled and nodded in the style of a local entrepreneur. When the youth prosper, the country prospers. When the youth are strong, the country is strong. This time, our Zhang Group provides a mysterious treasure worth 100 million yuan to support our Baiyun City youth. I wish him to soar to the sky, to fly in the sky, to beat the heroes in the college entrance examination, to win the first place, and to win glory for our Baiyun City. Good. Zhang Yangwei's words attracted warm applause from countless classmates. Those who didn't know him thought he was a good person. But in fact, his Zhang Group's market value is only 10 billion yuan. How could he take out a treasure worth 100 million yuan for no reason as a mysterious reward for this shitty mock exam? This must be painful. The reason why he had to endure the pain and take it out before was because Leng Ruyu was there. Leng Ruyu is the daughter of the Lord of Baiyun City. Their Zhang Group is going to unify all the catering industries in Baiyun City and take the opportunity to become a giant of hundreds of billions or trillions. So they plan to take this opportunity to present a gift. After all, in his opinion, with Leng Ruyu's SS-level talent, the first place in this mock exam can only be Leng Ruyu, so the gift is naturally given out. But he never thought that he would find out when he was about to meet her that Leng Ruyu did not participate in this mock exam at all. This is embarrassing. What else can he do? The words have been said, and he can't take them back. He can only bear the pain and say these frank words to earn some reputation. Although it is a little painful. But Zhang Yangwei is not too worried. After all, the fat water does not flow to outsiders. So that's it. On the number 1 ring, Zhang Feng saw the encouraging eyes from his father. He remembered the meaningful words his father said to him before. Asked him if he was sure to win the first place in the mock exam. So that's it. Zhang Feng was immediately moved. He didn't expect his father to trust him so much and take out 100 million assets to motivate him like this. Dad and Mom, don't worry. Who else can take the first place in this mock exam but me? Zhang Feng showed a charming and confident smile. As the only male who has the 4A level professional wind swordsman, he certainly has this confidence. Sun Chang, Wang Hao, Zhao Gang and others can only be trampled under his feet. As for Su Chen, he would not even think of it. It is impossible for him to think of it. I am afraid that he will be eliminated immediately when the exam bell rings. It is impossible for him to persist to the end and become my opponent. Only Zhang Feng can take the things of my Zhang family. A mysterious gift worth 100 million. I didn't expect to get unexpected gains. On the number 3 ring, Su Chen smiled. I thought it would be good to get 100 chi and blood pills this time, but I didn't expect Zhang Feng's father to be so generous and rush up to give him a gift. That can't be helped. I accept the mysterious gift worth 100 million. Beep. That was when it happened. When the crowd was excited about the mysterious gift. The bell for the start of the exam rang at this moment. 5 minutes to adjust. All students, take your seats. The first mock exam of Baiyun Middle School starts now. Boom. There was a sudden commotion in the crowd. Ah, the exam started so suddenly. I'm not ready yet. It's just in time. I've been waiting impatiently for a long time. Come and have a good fight. Su Chen's child shall die. There was great commotion in the large arenas, especially in arena number 3, when the host announced the start of the mock exam. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Su Chen in the center of the ring like hungry wolves. Some rubbed their hands, licked their lips, or laughed maliciously. They were like newborn wolf cubs showing their fangs to the past wolf king, eager to pull him off the throne with their own hands. Su Chen's time for you has passed. It's up to me, Sun Chang, to end your mythical ranking first every year. Sun Chang swung his green cloak behind him and was the first to stand out from the crowd. Brother Chen, step back. I will protect you. Good friend Gangzi waved his hand and protected Su Chen behind him. Su Chen. The atmosphere was on the verge of breaking out, but the host laughed strangely. Before everyone takes action, I would like to give you a friendly reminder that free formation of teams is allowed for this mock exam. It was with this sentence that the tense atmosphere at the scene suddenly became weird. If you are allowed to form teams freely, wouldn't that be? On stage 3, everyone's eyes began to withdraw from Su Chen, and their attention wandered back and forth on Sun Chang and Zhao Gang, their eyes flickering. The rewards for this mock exam are unprecedentedly generous. It's just that the top 100 can get chi and blood pills, and the first place can also get a mysterious gift package worth 100 million. Who doesn't want to sprint? But they also understand in their hearts that they are just ordinary D-level and C-level professions, with B-level and A-level occupations above them. Let alone the first place, even entering the top 100 is a little bit in doubt. But if we are now allowed to form teams freely, then we shouldn't kill the strongest ones first. Sun Chang, although he thinks that he is indeed the strongest one present, but you are changing your attitude too quickly. I am your opinion leader, Brother Sun. Game and competition, cooperation and betrayal. This is exactly the theme of this mock exam, held in this format. The strongest one may not always have the last laugh, or may be eliminated first by the crowd. The weakest one may not necessarily be the first one to be eliminated, and may benefit from it and stay until the end. I want to stand at the end of this round. It is not only a consideration of personal combat power, but also a comprehensive test of a person's personality charm, social skills, observation of words, overall manipulation, psychological game, speech and lobbying ability, etc. After all, no matter how powerful a person is, he can't kill everyone in the arena together. The question maker of this mock test on the viewing platform proudly told his idea of setting the question. Name: Sun Chang. Closing square bracket. Occupation: A-level shield hero. Closing square bracket. Vitality value: 25.0. Combat power: 350. Name: Zhong San. Closing square bracket. Occupation: dual sword style, swordsman. Closing square bracket. Vitality value: 11.0. Combat power: 150. On stage 3, after being reminded that they could form teams freely, many flexible people took out combat power testers and began to test the combat power of people on the airport as a reference. When they saw that Sun Chang's combat power reached 350, the average combat power was only about 100, and the group of students suddenly burst into exclamations and discussions. HP value 25.0, combat power 350. Sun Chang is truly an A-level professional shield hero. With such strength, only Zhao Gang can compete with him. The combat power gap between the rest of them and the two of them is almost all a big gap. When fighting alone, there's no way we can beat them. With the help of combat power tester, the students at the scene had a clearer understanding of the combat power division of the crowd on the field. There were 500 to 600 people in arena number 3. Except for Sun Chang and Zhao Gang, almost everyone had a combat power of around 100. Zhong San, who has 150 combat power, is considered to be in the first echelon of combat power except Sun Chang and Zhao Gang. Thanks to the teacher for reminding us in time, otherwise if we started fighting like headless flies, how could we defeat Sun Chang and the others later? The crowd was filled with students discussing tactics. They were discussing, should we unite to deal with Sun Chang and Zhao Gang? And, which one is better to deal with first? Single quote. Among these voices, a bald classmate pointed the combat power tester at Su Chen out of curiosity. Don't panic yet, let me see how much combat power our great genius Su has now. It seemed that he was aware of something detecting him. Su Chen turned his eyes and looked over. Drop. As the combat power tester beeped, his combat power was also displayed on the chip of the bald head. Name: Su Chen. Profession: closing square bracket. Chi and blood value, closing square bracket. Combat power, closing square bracket. When he saw the series of question marks on Su Chen's body, the bald classmate's eyes widened and he couldn't help but curse. What the hell is this? What's wrong with the bald head? The fellow strugglers who were discussing whether to join forces next to him saw the bald head reacting so violently and couldn't help but frown and ask. What happened? You were so surprised. Look. I just used the combat power tester to test Su Chen's combat power. Baldhead quickly handed over his combat power tester. Are you testing Su Chen's combat power? His career awakening failed and he can only practice martial arts. However, in more than 10 days, how can the combat power be improved? I don't need to look at it to know that it is around 99 or 100. It is not as high as us. Is there anything to test? Ah, a question mark. When they heard the bald man say that Su Chen's combat power display was a question mark, several students present were stunned. They lowered their heads and looked, and sure enough, the information about Su Chen on the combat power tester was except for his name. All turned into question marks. How could this happen? They turned to look at Su Chen in shock, and found that Su Chen, who was not far away, had looked back with a smile. The meaningful smile on the corner of the mouth made them tremble, and they couldn't help but have a terrible guess in their hearts. The combat power cannot be measured. How is this possible? Could it be that Su Chen's combat power has exceeded? Snapped. Made. What's so shocking? At this time, a 2-meter-tall muscular man in the bald gang, who seemed to be the leader, cursed and slapped each of the bald guys on the back of the head after hearing the report. Let me tell you that you should exercise first and strengthen your brain. You should read more books and newspapers. What's so shocking about a question mark? It's not like he is beyond the highest range of 1000 measured by the combat power in our hands. He yells and screams at every turn, even using the props to block detection. Don't you even know? I didn't hear that Su Chen had already put on a shielding prop some time ago, which caused an error in the combat power evaluation and showed something like 357. Wang Hao has already refuted the rumors about this. It's embarrassing for you to still yell about it now. With such an IQ, he is really not worthy of being my muscular man's younger brother. The reminder from the muscular man in the vest was broken, and the bald man who had been slapped touched the back of his head. His eyes when he looked at Su Chen were filled with resentment and he complained. You're a loser who failed to awaken. Why did you buy some shielding props to wear on your body? I'm shocked. There are so many questions. People who don't know would think you are so awesome. Leave him. He just likes to play tricks. The muscular man waved his hands, focused his wise eyes on Sun Chang, and said seriously. The most important thing now is whether we should take this opportunity to join forces first and deal with the most difficult ones. Otherwise, we will both lose in the fight. If we want to unite to fight against Sun Chang and others, we won't have the strength. As for Su Chen, this loser will be left until the end and we will still control him. Realizing that everyone was looking at him, Sun Chang began to look at him, and the look on his face that was about to make a move made Sun Chang look a little ugly. Do you really want to target me first? There is a question mark over Su Chen's combat power. Are you sure you don't want to test Su Chen's strength first? A hero cannot stand up to a pack of wolves. Although he is an A-level shield hero and the strongest person in this arena, he still cannot withstand such a large crowd. Ha ha ha. The muscular man laughed loudly. Sun Chang, although I have muscles, my brain is not bad at all. Please don't have any stereotypes about muscular men. The combat power tester issued to us by the school has a test range between 1 and 1000. There are only 2 situations in which the test fails to produce a single question mark. Either the opponent's strength exceeds the standard of 1000, or the opponent is wearing a shielding item. Quote. Sun Chang, are you reminding us that Su Chen's combat power exceeds 1000? Don't treat others as fools. The muscular man's joking remarks made several boys around him couldn't help but laugh. Ha ha ha, no matter how powerful Su Chen was in the past, now he is just a loser who failed to awaken and can only practice martial arts. If the combat power can exceed 1000, I will stand on my head and eat shit live broadcast with my bald head. Su Chen's combat power has exceeded 1000. What strategies and tactics are we still discussing here? The whole school combined is no match for this person. Why don't we just kneel and skate and it's over? Ha 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 ha, Sun Chang, you can say such cerebral palsy, I don't care. I kind of doubt whether one of us has a brain problem. Hearing everyone's ridicule, Sun Chang's face looked a little ugly. He was a little anxious just now. He said it casually without thinking, and didn't really think so. After all, the combat power of his dignified shield hero is only over 300. If Su Chen, a loser who failed to awaken in every profession, had a combat power of 1000, then Sun Chang, the shield hero, would be nothing but a piece of shit in front of Su Chen. Su Chen is nothing to worry about. Sun Chang gritted his teeth in spite of everyone's ridicule and said, but don't forget that there is one A-level professional present besides me. He diverted trouble to the east. This drew people's attention to Su Chen again, where Gangzi stood in front of him. Don't forget, Zhao Gang is also an A-level professional. The Guardian Knight's combat power is no less than mine. If you target me first and let him benefit later, how can you break through his protection and teach Su Chen a lesson? Sun Chang's words made everyone hesitate. Which one is more important to Su Chen and Bo, giving them a chance to get first in the exam? To be honest, it's a bit hard to choose. Compared with the mysterious grand prize of 100 million, beating Su Chen here seems meaningless. But don't forget, in the past, Su Chen ranked first in the exams every year and was promoted to the altar. Now it is a rare opportunity to pull Su Chen off the altar and step on him. This feeling is so exciting, isn't it? Well, in addition to Su Chen's malicious behavior of grabbing monsters in the dungeon in order to prevent them from upgrading, they had already been filled with anger. So after Sun Chang exposed this matter, all the students were a little confused. Look at me, I think it's hard for you to make a decision for a while. And in this difficult time, the crowd's eyes habitually turned to the third group on the stage besides Sun Chang and Su Chen, where Zhongsan and Li Si stood behind a girl with a flat chest wearing a green dress. The girl is naturally Zhao Xiaoya. What should I do, Sister Xiaoya? Who to hit first? The two of them were a little undecided at the moment, and both looked at Zhao Xiaoya. In their eyes, now that the boss is away, they have to listen to their sister-in-law. Zhao Xiaoya also seemed to understand that the key point of the entire battle in arena number 3 was in her hands at this moment. She looked at Su Chen and gritted her teeth and said without too much hesitation. Get rid of Zhao Gang and Su Chen first. Wow. There was a tense atmosphere in the ring. There was an instant uproar. As one of the 4 beauties of No. 1 middle school, Zhao Xiaoya has a certain degree of appeal. Zhongsan and Li Si are Wang Hao's top henchmen, and their strength is second only to Sun Chang and Zhao Gang in this number 3 arena. The first row under. The 2 strongest groups have already united, so these small individual groups naturally don't need to think so much. Everyone looked at Zhao Gang and Su Chen. Get rid of them both first. Okay, this is the only way to go first. The muscular man also nodded. Wow, a group of militants who had long been unable to restrain themselves suddenly swarmed forward. Ha ha ha, Su Chen takes his life. My bald head has long been displeased with you. You are wearing some combat power blocking props when you are free to show off. You scumbag doesn't even have a profession. Who cares about looking at your combat power? You have already finished pretending. A group of people came from all directions. The boring foreplay is finally over. Facing the crowd swarming forward, Su Chen showed a happy smile. In fact, he had been impatient for a long time. A group of people are grinding and chirping. The tactical arrangement takes half an hour, and the battle takes 2 minutes. If he hadn't wanted to use their combat power measuring device to test the breath-containing effect of his skin-like skin, he would have taken the initiative long ago. How could he have delayed it until now? But even though he wasted some time, at least Su Chen was sure of one thing. With my current level of skin as golden as jade, an ordinary low-level combat power tester should be unable to detect my information. I don't know about higher level ones. The only uncertain factor is, Sun Chang and the others can't see my combat power. Is it because my skin is as golden as jade, or because my own combat power has exceeded the detection limit of the low-level combat power tester? Just right. You can use this to test it out. Looking at the people surrounding him, Su Chen raised the corners of his mouth, his eyes widened, and he stepped forward, his aura suddenly changed. What a baby! Just when Su Chen was about to attack, his good friend Gangzi saw so many people trying to inflict insults on him, Brother Chen, and couldn't help gritting his teeth and cursed secretly. Then, under Su Chen's surprised gaze, he drew a circle around Su Chen and hurriedly gave instructions. 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Brother Chen, I might not be able to take care of you when the fight breaks out later. Just stay in this circle and don't come out. I will try my best to protect you. Guard the fortress. Following Zhao Gang's loud shout, a transparent bunker that looked like it was made of crystal appeared with the circle drawn by Zhao Gang as the boundary. Su Chen was perfectly protected within it. Su Chen, who was already ready to take action, couldn't help but be stunned for a moment when he looked at the transparent fortress that suddenly appeared and surrounded him. Who is this fortress protecting? Guardian Fortress can instantly condense a defensive fortress that is harder than diamond. The size of the fortress is 1.5 times 1.5. Closing square bracket. In the future, it can become larger and harder and evolve into a powerful defense line such as a defensive wall or a protective city. As long as the user has enough physical strength, it can be released and maintained without limit. Such a wonderful defensive method as a well-deserved leader in team dungeons. Gangzi turned around and glanced at Su Chen, who was guarded by him in the fortress. He didn't explain much, but he gritted his teeth and turned his head. Because he knows, the tangible physical barrier may be broken down next, but from this moment on, there will always be an invisible, thick and sad barrier like this protective barrier between him and his brother Chen. The relationship between him and his brother Chen will be torn apart by this barrier. Never heals. After witnessing his powerful power, I am afraid that Brother Chen will feel inferior in front of him and will never be able to get along with him as well as before. And the reason for all this? It's all your fault. You fools who are digging into the pit. Zhao Gang's eyes turned red, and he raised his big shield and took the initiative to attack the muscular man. Clang clang clang. A large battlefield instantly formed in front of them. And in the rear guard fortress. Clang. Su Chen knocked on the shell of the barrier curiously, and it made a crisp sound like metal collision. These are the occupational skills exclusive to professional awakeners. They can be obtained through learning just like the martial arts skills of martial artist. But the difference is that no matter what kind of martial arts skills a martial artist learns, he will inevitably use his fists and kicks to perform them, while a professional can directly use skills like playing a game, and his skills are still like guarding the fortress, water polo, and fireball. So wonderful. Whether it's from the perspective of coolness or combat power, there is indeed a reason for the decline of Kobu Ryu in this era of national awakening. Su Chen could probably judge the hardness by knocking on the barrier guarding the fortress. It's similar to the turtle shell of a tortoise. Although it can't stop him, its hardness will take a lot of time to destroy even an awakened person who has entered the rank 1 realm. In order to protect him, Gangzi seemed to have directly zoomed in. Jia, Su Chen, where are you running? Looking at Gangzi, who was being beaten by a group of people in front of him, when Su Chen was about to break the barrier and go out, suddenly a wild laughter sounded from above, and Zhang San jumped in the air and struck the protective barrier with a clang with his double swords, above. His face was flushed, his smile was twisted, and he said happily, Su Chen, you think we can't do anything to you if you are hiding in a turtle shell? Zhao Gang is only one person after all. How can he stop so many of us? I want to see how long the broken turtle shell he gave you can protect you. Zhang San and Li Si, AB-level swordsman and AB-level swordsman, were so excited that their distorted smiles were reflected on the barrier. They have never forgotten the revenge of that day. We have been waiting for this moment for a long time. Not only Zhang San and Li Si, except for the 2 of them, the bald man, the muscular man and other classmates with chicken-like smiles on their faces also followed Zhao Gang and walked around from the left, right and back towards Su Chen. Rushed over. Clang clang clang. The swords, fists, and kicks struck the protective fortress with all kinds of attacks, causing sparks to fly. The pressure on Zhao Gang in front of him suddenly decreased. This scene made Su Chen, who had already placed his hand on the barrier and was going to support with the dragon scale technique, pause. Considering the protective skills that his teammates had used on him, if he broke them, it would not show any protective effect, which would be a bit bad. After all, you will be scolded if you use the empty skills. Therefore, Su Chen put his hand on the barrier back. He looked around at the classmates who were constantly bombarding the protective barrier with various occupational skills. Finally, he looked at Zhang San, who had the brightest smile, and raised 3 fingers. 3 minutes. I'll give you 3 minutes. If you can't break this barrier within 3 minutes, I'll help you. Ha ha ha. Su Chen, just pretend in there. 3 minutes left, brothers, blow him up in 1 minute. I want to see if you can still pretend in front of us after we break this turtle shell that protects you. Zhang San laughed wildly, and chopped harder with the 2 knives in his hands. Ding, ding, dang. The crisp sound of metal collision continued to ring on the ring. Not good. In the center of the battlefield where Xiao Er, Wang Wu, Ma Zi and others were fighting, Zhao Gang's face instantly became a little anxious after seeing this scene. The reason why he took the initiative to rush out before was to attract firepower and protect his brother Chen for a while, but he didn't expect that Zhang San and Li Si would bypass him and attack his weak brother Chen without martial ethics. What a group of despicable villains. Zhao Gang was immediately furious. After repelling Xiao Er, Wang Wu and others, he turned around and wanted to go back to protect brother Chen. But, bang, the green cloak flashed in the sun. Your opponent is me, Sun Chang, holding a small shield, blocked Zhao Gang. The appearance of Sun Chang made Zhao Gang couldn't help cursing. Although he was an A-level profession, the Guardian Knight was not a strong offensive profession, and he fought a defensive battle. But now the defensive battle has become a breakthrough battle. But Sun Chang, who was standing in front of him, was also holding a shield. The strength of the 2 of them was not much different. In addition, there were Xiao Er, Wang Wu, Ma Zi and others entangled beside him. Zhao Gang knew that he might not be able to break through to Su Chen to protect his brother Chen in a short time. He could only fight with Sun Chang while shouting anxiously. Zhang San, Li Si, what's your ability to attack my brother Chen? Brother Chen has not awakened yet and his strength is not strong. If you want to fight, fight me if you have the ability. Ha ha ha. Zhao Gang, haven't you heard of a saying, you should pick the weak ones? Zhao Gang's anxious words made Zhang San and Li Si laugh triumphantly. Isn't your brother Chen strong? Sorry, I'm fighting the weakest one. Zhao Gang was so angry at the shameless remarks of the 2 that he couldn't speak. He was anxious but there was no good way. He could only keep trying to break through. The atmosphere on the ring gradually became tragic. 1 minute. 1 minute has passed, and now you have 2 minutes left. Inside the barrier, Su Chen spoke slowly, reminding Zhang San and others to fight seriously and stop talking nonsense. Ha ha. Su Chen's reminder made Zhang San laugh. Su Chen, I admit that this turtle shell is indeed a bit hard, but there are so many of us here, we can break it in no time, and then we'll see if you can still be so calm and composed. Zhang San, you were wrong to say that, maybe in 2 minutes Su Chen will show his power, we have to be careful. Li Si next to him also teased with a grin. Oh, Su Chen will show his power in 2 minutes. I'm so scared, brother Su Chen sees that I am so arrogant now, will he hit me in 2 minutes? Zhang San and Li Si sang and talked about the double act, and they looked so weird and angry that they couldn't help but sigh, not to mention the people present. Well, even we can't stand it. If he had the strength, he wouldn't have said anything and he would have gone out and beaten them in a minute or 2. The genius of the past has actually fallen to the point of being protected like this. I don't know how he feels now. The reality is so cruel. If he fails to awaken his profession, he will probably be the first to be eliminated when the barrier is broken. There was a girl with a sensitive mind and strong empathy in the live broadcast room, transposing herself into Su Chen's perspective. Finally, they couldn't help but wipe away their tears for Su Chen. Xiaoli also said with a complicated mood. Everyone, please watch and cherish it. Together, we will witness the end and ending of this fallen young man. Clang clang clang. Under countless sword strikes, the protective fortress as hard as diamond began to have irreparable white marks and ravines, and the indestructible fortress began to tremble slightly. 2 minutes. Now you only have the last minute left. Su Chen stood inside the barrier and was already a little impatient. If it weren't for the obsessive-compulsive disorder that told him to wait for 3 minutes, he would feel uncomfortable waiting for 3 minutes. Otherwise Jong-san and Lee Si were so arrogant just now, he would have gone out to kill them long ago. Ha ha, Su-chen, you're still pretending to be here. Didn't you see that the turtle shell Zhao Gang put on you is about to break? 1 more minute, now only 59 seconds left. Everyone, please work harder. Let's break the barrier as soon as possible within 58 seconds to meet the requirements of our great genius Su. Let's see if this turtle can still hold it up after its shell is broken. Soon, the Guardian Fortress had already developed slight cracks under the continuous attacks. After Jong-san, Lee Si and others saw their results, they couldn't help laughing, their eyes gleaming. It's about to end, Xiao Li said in a somewhat unbearable tone on the viewing platform. No, Brother Chen, surrender quickly and admit defeat. It's brother, I didn't protect you. Zhao Gang shouted anxiously, trying to break out to protect Su Chen, but was stopped by Sun Chang. Hey, Zhao Gang, don't worry, after Su Chen, you will be next. Sun Chang had a proud smile on his face, and even had the intention to turn around and shout to Jong-san, Lee Si and others. When the barrier is broken, I don't care how you teach Su Chen, just leave the last blow to me. His own goddess Ruizu is watching from above. In the end, he must use a sharp and handsome gesture to finish Su Chen completely. It's finally over. Outside the crowd, Zhao Xiaoya also nodded with satisfaction, her pretty face full of pride. She just said that her choice was right. Su Chen was not worthy of her at all, and he was about to be eliminated first. She knew that in a short while, she and Su Chen would be completely different from the same world. One is a person on the stage, and the other is a person off the stage. A moment later, under the continuous bombardment of everyone. Click, a shattered fragment bounced off the protective barrier. Broken. Everyone who cared about Su Chen became nervous at this moment. Jong-san and Lee Si, who were struggling to chop, suddenly showed an indescribable joy on their faces. Jong-san raised his head and smiled ferociously at Su Chen inside. Quack. If Su Chen has the guts, don't surrender. This tortoise shell has already cracked. It can't protect you for long. When this tortoise shell is broken, your third brother, I am willing to challenge you to a duel. Let me see how our great genius Su has worked so hard in the past 10 days. How much has your strength improved through practice? No, I'll go first. Let me test whether our Su Shen still has the same style as before. Lee Si said. I'm the first one. The bald man and the muscular man also rushed to be the first. No one can compete with me. Su Chen and I are classmates. I believe he would be more willing to compete with me first. There was a lot of noise in the surrounding area. Everyone looked at Su Chen as if they were looking at a delicious feast protected by a barrier. They were almost quarreling over who could eat it first, as if everyone was determined to eat Su Chen. 3 seconds. You still have the last 3 seconds. As for Su Chen, who was inside the barrier, he stood quietly within the protective barrier, his hands hanging down naturally. Near the end, he was no longer in a hurry. A pair of deep eyes stared at the gap in the barrier in front of him, like a wild beast dormant. As if waiting for a certain opportunity, his eyes were calm and unruffled. 3 seconds. What you said is true. Come out if you have the ability. I, Jong-san, will beg you to be tortured online, okay? 3, 2, 1. Now 3 seconds are up, please come out and hit me, my bones are itching to death. Jong-san laughed wildly. Meet your perverted demands. What? Jong-san was stunned for a moment. He looked at Su Chen inside the barrier and was about to ask what Su Chen just said. Boom. That is at this moment. Within the barrier, Su Chen suddenly took a step forward. A divine light suddenly appeared in his eyes, dazzling, the energy in his body exploded, and his blood surged. His momentum was like a beast coming out of its cage. He drew his arm like a longbow and pierced his hand like a flying arrow towards the person who had broken open on the protective barrier. A crack struck fiercely. Vaguely, Jong-san seemed to hear a faint sound of dragon roar. Click, bang, a sound like glass exploding rang in my ears. The defensive barrier that was originally just a crack and expected to take a while to be completely broken suddenly collapsed at this moment. At the same time, Su Chen's cold voice came. I said 3 minutes are up. Satisfy your perverted demands of being tortured. Zhang San had a look of astonishment on his face. Before his brain could react to what happened, he could only see Su Chen's big hand magnifying infinitely in his eyes. Snapped. After smashing the protective fortress, Su Chen castrated his hands without leaving a trace, turned the thorns into palms, grabbed Zhang San's face with one palm, twisted his waist and exerted force, and pressed Zhang Shan to the ground with one palm, giving him Zhang San treated the itchy bones. Bang! The ground cracked with a crack, and Zhang San spat out a mouthful of old blood. His legs were straightened and his shoes almost fell off. The sudden change made Li Si on the side a little dazed, but before he could react, he felt a cramp in his abdomen, and he flew out like a red shrimp bending down. It turned out that while pressing Zhang San to the ground, Su Chen kicked Li Si by the way. Two brothers, one goes to heaven and the other goes to earth. You are the ones who told me to hit you. I've never seen such a request in my life. Su Chen glanced at Zhang San, who was already rolling his eyes, and spoke coldly. The whole audience was shocked at this moment. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.